in prayer right now. So welcome to Tea and Talk and Tea with Dr. Naomi.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you all for joining us today. We are here in her beautiful home to have this conversation. I want to tell you right now that she has been very anxious in a good way about today. And so I'm pretty sure that she's so happy to see all of you joining today. So let's just get some housekeeping rules out of the way. We're going to ask you to please mute yourself during the interview. If you have any questions, we have some moderators who are going to be checking the chat rooms on both Facebook and Zoom. So if you have any questions during the process, please post your questions there. And when we open up for Q&A, we will then answer those questions. I am Candy Hagamin, and Dr. Naomi, I was so humbled for when I received the call from her to be a part of this very, very, very special occasion, because I know how near and dear this work has been to her. So again, I know I've said it 1,000 times, but thank you for having me be a part of this. And she holds a very special place in my heart, because not only is she my sister friend, and you're gonna find out today that we have so much more in common than we ever realized. But she is also the pediatrician to my firstborn grandchild, so she holds a very, very special place in my heart. Dr. Naomi. Non-scripted, stage. She just wanted this to be very authentic. And so because I know I have her bio, but I'm going to let the woman of the several hours speak for herself. Forgot all about this microphone. I do apologize. We have our crew here in the house. They're like, microphone. So I am going to go ahead and let the woman of the hour tell you a little bit about herself.
Okay, so as you all know, I am Dr. NaomiLHillHugh. When I'm in the office, I am just Dr. Hill. And when I'm not in the office in settings like this, I'm just Dr. Naomi. So a little bit about myself. So I born and raised in the state of New Jersey. And ever since second grade, I've known I wanted to be a pediatrician. In fact, I used to think it was third grade until about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was at a neighborhood reunion where I grew up, and my second grade teacher was there, and she asked me, Naomi, did you ever become a pediatrician? You always wanted to be a doctor. And it was then a few years ago that I realized it was a second grade aspiration, not a third grade aspiration.
Oh, so you knew very early on what you wanted to do.
I did.
Now, why a pediatrician?
I don't know. I do remember my third grade teacher asking the class to draw a picture of ourselves doing what we wanted to do when we were grown up. And I drew a picture of a little girl laying in a hospital bed, and I had a white coat on and a stethoscope around my neck.
Oh.
And there was a child in the bed. And I remember asking my mother what kind of doctor that was, and she said pediatrician. So when you're 8, 9 years old, that word doesn't just flow off of your tongue. So I used to always ask my mother, what's the name of that doctor that I want to be? And so that's what it is. And I've never strayed away from it.
Well, there you go. So aside from being a pediatrician, I know you wear many hats, ma'am. What else makes Dr. Naomi who she is?
Okay, so I am a wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been a wife for 14 years now to my husband, Kelvin. And I'm also a mother to 3 sons, which are very, very special to me.
There you go. And now you can add to the list a published author.
Yes, and a grandmother.
And
I became a grandmother this year. My granddaughter Nola. Yes.
Oh, you're not too young.
Yes. Yes.
What is that? Are you Nana? Are you mom?
I am Gammy.
Gammy.
Yes. And
right.
Nola is 2.5 months, but she has a 2-year-old sister, Luna, who I have taken under my wing. So I'm her Gammy too.
There you go. There you go. Well, today's theme is Talk and Tea with Dr. Naomi. So I have to ask you, why?
Why tea? Okay, so I am a part of a blended family. So when I married my husband, he had a son, Steffon, and then I had my son, Justin. So when we married, we blended 2 families. And so I wanted to talk about blending and a blended family from the perspective of tea and the different herbs and sweeteners and things of that nature that go into a tea that make a nice blend. It's not always sweet, not always bitter, but it makes a nice blend.
So we are inviting you at home to get your favorite tea and cozy up next to your computer, your iPad, your iPhone, whatever you're using to watch today's presentation, because we have a bunch of teas that we will be digging into throughout our time together. Now, I have to ask you, Dr. Naomi, what is your favorite tea blend?
I really like hibiscus and honey. I like those. The honey is sweet. Hibiscus all by itself can be a little tart, but then a little bit fruity. So that's my favorite tea blend is hibiscus and honey.
All right. Well, we're going to jump right into it. And I am going to read. Now, I have to say this. In preparation for today's interview, I carved out 3 chunks of time in a week, over a week's period, for me to read the book. I have to be honest with you. And the first day that I was going to read, I carved out my afternoon to read the book. So I began reading the book around 1:30 in the afternoon. And when I looked up, it was 7:45, and I had finished the entire book. That's how amazing this book is. I literally read this entire book in one sitting. I only get up for, potty breaks and things of that nature and then to get some food, but I even took my iPad to the kitchen table and I was reading the book even as I was eating my lunch and as I was eating my dinner. So I read this entire book in one sitting. This book is amazing. And I promise no spoiler alerts. I will not give any spoiler alerts, but I will say that this is an amazing book. And we talked about the book, and one of the things that I first said to Dr. Naomi was, I'm going to support you because you're my friend and you are an author, so I'm going to buy this book. And she said, Candy, you'll be surprised. It's not just for blended families. It's not just for women, wives that are part of a blended family. By the time I close the book, I can attest to that this book, we have so much more in common than our difference. So in the beginning of your book, I'm going to read an excerpt. It says, this book is best read in sequence with a pen, paper, and tissue in hand. Each chapter is followed by a devotional anecdote, questions to consider, words of encouragement, a song for your season, and an act of kindness. I had to stop right there and I said, wow, an act of kindness, what does that mean? So before I go any further, Why was it important for you to add these components? Because it's not just, you know, your biography. You added in the devotional anecdotes, the questions to consider, your words of encouragement, a song for a season, and the acts of kindness. Why was it important for you to include those pieces?
So I didn't want to just write a memoir, you know, some experiences through my life, the journey through my heart as a wife and a mother, and how those two entities collided to conceive Blended Beyond Expectation. But I wanted it to be a journey for anybody who read it. And so a lot of us have heart issues, and a lot of us need to deal with our heart issues. Sometimes you might not even know that you have them, but in reading the chapters of the book, I wanted each person to be able to pause. And so the devotional anecdote, because I'm a Christian, I relayed the chapter that I wrote, I related to a woman in the Bible whose experience I thought most reflected that of the particular subject matter for the chapter. And then questions to consider. So when you finish reading the chapter, for you, there are 4 questions at the end of each chapter that I would like the reader to consider to help them along on their journey, kind of like as a personal journal, okay? And then a song for your season. I've gone through a lot. Music has the ability to heal. It has the ability to soothe. You can get lost in all kinds of music. And so at the end of each chapter, I put a song that got me through that particular season. Words of encouragement. Everybody needs to be encouraged. I don't know what your it is, but whatever it is, you need to be encouraged through that. So I put some words of encouragements, and then an act of kindness. We are always doing things for other people. We oftentimes don't take the opportunity to do things for ourselves. We feel like we're being self-centered, or we're being selfish, or we're not thinking about somebody else, but we need to do things for ourselves too. So the majority of the acts of kindness in the book are things that you would do for yourself, and some are something that you would do for others, but it helps you along your journey so that this book can be a personal testimony for yourself as you read my testimony.
So one of the questions that came to me as I was reading the book was, I was wondering, you know, about the love languages. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering if you chose the act of kindness piece because perhaps that was your love language. What is your love language?
Well, in the beginning of my love language, in the beginning of my marriage, my love language was physical touch. That was very important to me. But as I go through the challenges in my marriage, as I get older, when I got married, I was 39, and I'm 53 years old now. So physical touch is not as important as quality time and acts of kindness. Just to be able to spend time with my husband. You don't have to touch me, but just to spend quality time with my husband, quality time with my children, quality time with my sister friends, my spiritual friends, it just means more to me at this stage in my life.
So one of the things that I was able to witness vicariously just through observing you at church, mm-hmm. and even in your practice as a pediatrician, mm-hmm. I know that you're a devoted wife. Mm-hmm. I know that you're a devoted mother. Mm-hmm. I know that you're a devoted pediatrician. Mm-hmm. You're a devoted daughter, and all the many devoted sister. Mm-hmm. But I also know, and it really came through in this reading, that you have a devotion to the Lord that it just is so inspiring. And just reading how your devotion was tested on so many occasions, but yet did you trust him? Mm-hmm. So you're definitely going to see her devotion in action. It's one thing to speak well of God and speak well of your journey when things are going well, but when you're tested. So one of the scriptures that you open up with, and you're going to get some scriptures throughout this book, but the first scripture that she opens up with is pray. And this is an NIV version. Pray, even in your weakest moments. That is why, for Christ's sakes, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardship, in persecution, in difficulty. For when I am weak, then I am strong. That is 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 10. Is that a very meaningful scripture for you?
It is. It is, because a lot of times people think that it's that when you show your weakness, when you show that you're vulnerable, when you go through times that are difficult, nobody said that being a Christian, your life was going to be easy. It just means that you're going to have promised certain blessings, certain outcomes, but you still must go through the fire, but it doesn't mean the fire is going to consume you. So no matter whatever state that you're in, I always see the glass half full. I'm always happy. I'm always smiling, because I say, well, my day is okay. It could be worse. It could be better. So it's always just okay. So that's where I take it. I may be in a season where I'm in a valley, but eventually I'm going to be on the mountaintop.
I love it. I love it. Now, let's jump into the book. I know you all are very excited to talk and listen to our conversation about the book. The one thing that immediately caught me, I'm an avid book reader, as you can tell. I mean, I have to say, yours is the only book that I've ever sat down and read 254 pages in one sitting. I mean, when I started, it was light outside, and when I ended, I realized I was sitting in the dark. But what I typically do is I'll go and I'll read the beginning, like the acknowledgments, and then I'll read like the back cover, and then I'll just, if the chapters are titled, I'll read the chapter titles. Mm-hmm. When I looked at these chapter titles, I said, whoa, first of all, you did good with the titles, because it definitely made me go, I wonder what that's about. Mm-hmm. So some of the chapter titles include, who's running this house? Inauguration day? Letting go. This one really caught my attention. Stop running through the woods. It takes courage. Letters from the heart. Uncommon favor. And finally, just breathe. What is the correlation between these book chapter titles and tea? Because it all works together. Mm-hmm. So what is the correlation between the chapters titles mm-hmm. and T's?
Okay, so the chapter titles are specific for a particular event that I struggled with as a married woman and such as also a mother. And so when I blended my heart as a wife with my heart as a mother, there was an explosion that I did not expect. And so the book chapter titles came very easy to me. But then the T's, I said, everybody thinks that, I'm a Christian woman, I married a Christian man, we have this Christian family. My stepson is going to just love me as his bonus mother, and my biological son is going to love his bonus father as just this wonderful Christian man to bring guidance. And that's just not what happened. My family was blended, but it was not a blessing. So with the T's, it just made me think about blending. What does blending mean? And when you bring one ingredient from one family, another ingredient from another, the ingredients in and of themselves, when you consume them independently, you're going to get one flavor than a flavor that you'll get when you blend them. And so it made me think about, my husband as a single father of a male child, and myself as a single woman of a male child. What does that blending look like? And then when we blended, we have another male child who balanced our union. But there was a lot for me to learn through tea in my blended family.
And we are going to be revisiting the T's throughout our time together. So again, I implore you and I encourage you to pull up on a glass of tea of your cup of tea, whether it's, iced tea or hot tea. So I've always wanted to ask authors this. And when I got a hold of your book, I said, oh, I definitely need to ask this question. Where did you begin your writing? Okay, so what's, what chapter, because it doesn't always come out succinctly as chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3.
Mm-hmm.
So where did you begin writing?
I began right smack dab in the middle of the book. Chapter 4 was the first chapter that I wrote.
So, Blended Beyond Expectations by DrNaomiLHillHugh. Chapter 4, which is Stop Running Through the Woods. You started there. And so that's pretty interesting. And I'm going to tell you why it's interesting, because that's chapter 4. That is smack dab in the middle of the book. So you actually began literally in the middle of the book. So why did you know that was going to be the placing? So like after completing the writing, did the placing make any sense to you as the author?
Well, it did. It did because there were several women who encouraged me to write this book. And the first part of that encouragement came from other people watching me mother my son, my firstborn, Justin, through a very difficult season. And so they heard my testimony as a mother and didn't understand where the strength came from, where the resolve came from, because when you look at me, you didn't see what I was going through. You didn't know that it was there. And so because of the sharing of that story regarding my son, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. Everybody, you need to write a book. And so that's where I started. And it was a very painful season that I was in, which is why when I started the book, I was fearful of being vulnerable, transparent, and just open and honest. And so that's where I started at a hard part, at a very, very difficult part.
And because clearly you began writing in the middle, what would become the middle of the book. When you ended your writing, was that the natural ending of your writing, or did you kind of write that out of sequence as well?
The ending?
Yes.
Actually, the very last thing I wrote was the introduction.
Wow.
I wrote the middle of the book, the middle of the book. Then I went back to the beginning because I thought that was the easiest part to write, was the beginning. Although it was difficult for me to know how to start it, it ended up being the easiest part to write. And then the last part of the book was actually written. The last part of the book was written in 2019. It was written in September of 2019. And there were several years in between writing the first 7 chapters and then the chapter 8.
So why did you need that break in writing? Blended Beyond Expectation. I'm going to keep dropping that so you'll know. Blended Beyond Expectation, where you can get your pre-order copy at DrNaomi.org. That is her website. But why?
Well, I didn't feel like the book had closure. But the chapter, at the end of the seventh chapter, it wasn't a closure to the book. I needed to end the book in a place of healing, and there was still a lot of unresolved issues, some anxiety, where I felt like I just need to be at a place of peace, because I needed to bring my reader to a place of peace and wholeness along their journey. And so that's why it took me, I went on a retreat. And when I went on that retreat, it was at Sandy Cove Ministries in Maryland. And my good girlfriend, Hawa Jusu Johnson, has a nonprofit that's called Living Empowered. And she hosted a reset retreat. And at that retreat, I decided that I needed to be realigned. There just was something that wasn't right in my marriage and in my family, so I needed realignment. And when I went to that retreat, I received my realignment and was also enlightened, and that's where I received the closure for the book.
So much I could say, but I'm not going to. Again, no spoiler alerts. So, Blended Beyond Expectations. So clearly you had some expectations, and you kind of already alluded to, like, perhaps maybe the expectations that you set for yourself at the beginning of your marriage to Kelvin, you know, those were the expectations. You had some expectations, you know, for your blended family then. But let's go back to teenage Naomi. And I say teenage because that's when, you know, for some reason, young girls start to really think about what their wedding dress is going to look like, what their Prince Charming, as it were, and who's going to be their bridesmaid, what music they're going to dance to or, you know, walk down the aisle to. So what were teenage Naomi's thoughts or aspirations about love, marriage, and kids? So in the first part of this question, I just want to know what your thoughts and aspirations were about those.
Well, I always thought that I would get married, probably right after medical school, because I knew I wanted to be a physician. Thought that I was going to marry another physician or an attorney or someone with a terminal degree because I would have gone that far in my education. I thought that I was going to live in a big, beautiful house and tall ceilings, lots of land, a white picket fence, you know, all of those sort of kinds of things.
So how close did you come to those thoughts or aspirations?
Well, I didn't get married right after medical school because I had a son when I was in medical school, which was not in the order of things that I had hoped that it would be. But I had a son, and I felt like I was going to end up, people would think I was trying to find, you know, a father for my son because his father and I were not together. Even when he was born, we were not a family. And so I thought, you know, I was a single mother of a son, and some man was going to think that I was trying to look for a father, you know, for my son. And so I waited, and I didn't want to rush into things. So I waited for the person who I thought would be a good covering for my son as I was a single mother. And that wait took me until I was 39 years old. It absolutely was not what I expected. As a matter of fact, I said that if I'm not married by the age of 40, I'm throwing myself the biggest 40th birthday party ever. And so we had a wedding celebration instead at age 39. So
and it's so funny because, you know, I actually hear young ladies say, if I'm not married by the time I'm 30, forget it. And, you know, we give ourselves these timetables, and God goes, but timing is everything. And blended beyond expectation just really speaks to the timing. Now, I think this is a good time to bring in Mr. Kelvin himself, Mr. Kelvin Hugh. Come on and join us here on this beautiful.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Look at you. Oh, look at you just smiling. She just lit up as soon as you sat next to her.
Like a light bulb.
Like a light bulb. So one thing I love about Dr. Naomi and learning more about her family and spending some time with them is they are very transparent. In this book, I was actually encouraged, inspired, and shocked by the transparency. And I said, you know what? I know that she hears from God. So there must be a reason why she is going and being this transparent. So before we jump into it with Kelvin, why was it so important for you to be so transparent? And did you ever have moments in writing the book where you said, okay, yeah, I wrote that, but maybe I'll take that out now?
Well, there was never a time where I wanted to take anything out. And I figured if I'm going to share, then I need to be as open and honest as humanly possible, because my intention is to encourage and inspire. So you know, a lot of times we feel like we want to hold back and we don't want to share. Well, you know, there are other people out there who are going through the same things.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really important, if our marriage is going to be an example, then our marriage, it has to be transparent. You know, you can't hold back on things where if you're trying to teach somebody and talk to somebody about loss, then you can't hold the details of your losses. Or if you're trying to talk to a mother who has a prodigal son who's brokenhearted, you can't hold back the broken pieces of your heart. You just have to share it all.
So, blended beyond expectations. To be honest, I think that as a reader and knowing you personally, I had some expectations about what the book was going to be about. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. And some moments in the book, there were some moments in the book where there was dialogue with you and Kelvin, and there were moments shared between you and Kelvin that I wanted to go, oh my God, no, I'm eavesdropping. should I be reading this? Like, oh my gosh. So Kelvin, transparency, and this book. Let me ask you, what were your first impressions of Naomi embarking on this writing?
Actually, when I met Naomi, she had indicated to me that she was going to write a book about something else. So when this came along, I said, I thought that's not what you told me you was going to write about. So once she got started with it, and I realized that her heart was in it because she had attended other workshops and been involved in a lot of the women ministries, and God was speaking to her heart about different things. So I said, well, God must be in it. So, and then I think she got a confirmation too from somebody that didn't know her about the book in one of the classes, after the class, wasn't it? So I said to myself, well, this is it. This is what it's going to be about. So, and here we are.
So so I know that the author goes through a process, but you being the closest person to her on earth, because we know that she puts God first. It came back through very clear. I knew that about her, but it was a confirmation in the book, but you being the closest living person to her, what was the process like for you as she was writing the book?
There's some trying times. And actually, it was some trying times leading up to today too. But I realized that the book was that important to her. And so you have to make adjustments. There's a lot of adjustments that you have to make, especially being at home. And good thing that I'm retired, so that made it that much easier because we have a 13-year-old son, now 13. So the process of being here and her spend hours at the library at times.
Hours upon hours upon hours.
It was difficult, but we got through it by the grace.
So have you read the book or excerpts of the book?
I read excerpts. I didn't read, some chapters I read all the way through, and then other chapters I just read excerpts.
Okay. So how was it to read about your wife's experience through her words, written words on a book where she was clearly very transparent about where her mind was in certain instances and experiences, and some of the experiences you may, as you were reading them, you may have recalled living those experiences with her, but now through reading the book, you were able to know what was going on in her mind and her heart. So how was it to read about Dr. Naomi's experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and blending the family?
Well, at the time, sometimes, you know how you ladies are. So you share some things, you don't share all.
I like how you said that. You know how you ladies are. He sounds like
you share some things, but you don't share everything. And there were some things that I read in the book about what she was going through, especially with the miscarriage and all that, I didn't realize that her feelings were her feelings at the time. And, you know, and it made it difficult when I read that chapter, you know, it almost brought tears to my eyes because I didn't know my wife was going through that, and along with other things that were going on in our lives too. But it was difficult times for me too. And I always say to my wife, it's only by the grace of God that I came through it as much as she did as well, because there's some difficult times with all of us.
So I talked this over with Dr. Naomi, and so we're being very strategic and not giving too many spoiler alerts, but we did think it was important to do this. What passage or what scene in the book really resonated with you or stuck with you as you were reading?
Well, being transparency. And don't give away anything in the book.
Okay. She's like, don't give away. I want them to buy.
They need to buy the book.
Well, being transparent, there's time, especially with thing, time with me.
Please don't give away the book.
I'm not giving away the book. I'm just saying sometimes with I felt a certain way as the man and the head of the household. So being transparency, if I can, without giving away the book.
Right.
And, you know, there's something that the judge said in court that caught my attention to make me feel as though, well, I'm not the bad guy. I'm not being a bad guy. I'm being the person who God called me to be as head of the household. And then to have it confirmed, not only just by that setting, but by Justin himself.
So let me ask you this question, because one thing that I have said since the beginning of our time together today was that having read the book, is my opinion that Blended Beyond Expectation, written by Dr. Naomi Hugh Hill. You can pick it up on drnaomi.org. It is my belief that this book is not just for the mother or the wife that's in a blended family. I believe that this book speaks to so many different demographics and, you know, populations of people. And I actually was having this conversation with my husband, and then when we were talking and promoting it to other people, the one group that I think could really benefit from this is the husband in a blended family. Do you believe that this is a book that could speak to husbands of a blended family? If so, why? And if not, why?
I think husbands on all levels, because as a Christian man, that we are called to be head of the household. So as a head of the household and doing what God called you to do as a male figure, that it speaks volumes to all men, not just men that are married, but men that are single as well. Because a lot of times, men that are single steps in the gap and become that head figure because other men are not doing what they are called to do. So I think it speaks on both sides.
So you agree?
Yeah,
so
I agree.
There you go. It's man approved, husband approved. So I'm glad, you know, because the next question that we kind of had, you're kind of speaking to it. So as the ultimate head of the household, what were some, without giving away the book, what were some of the unexpected challenges that you face as the ultimate head of the household? I'll stay there for a moment. What were some of the unexpected challenges that you faced?
I'll give you one. At times, not knowing that my wife had my side was Steffon and being the helpmate that God called her to be for me without being partial towards the situation itself. And knowing that at times where I didn't think that she had my back because I was looked at as not the guy that she married as looking for that perfection in, but as a bad guy because the things that I didn't allow to happen and wasn't going to allow to happen.
So in the book, we see over and over again in the first few chapters of the book, how Naomi had prepared for her future husband, how she had prepared for whoever God would bring into her life. And one question popped up for me was like, so how did Kelvin prepare? I was just so curious. So how had you prepared for the blending aspect?
Well, we had counseling, and then I was part of a men's group at the church. And part of the men's group at church, we go through different scenarios. We share different testimonies, and prayer works. Prayer works. And only by God's grace, and I always say that I'm still here, and I'm still here.
So, and you did this a little, but I'm going to ask you specifically. Well, let me say this first. One thing, and again, I am not, my family is not a blended family. My husband and I have 3 children, but the thing that I could connect with so much was, the coming of age of our male children, and how the relationship with my husband, sometimes as mom, I kind of, even in a not blended family, right? Both of our children are, we're married and both of our children are biological kids, but, and I've often shared this with Dr. Naomi, we have more similarities than differences. The only thing is, why do I sometimes feel like I'm in a blended family? So, so that's why I think it's important for people to understand that many of the challenges that you may see in a blended family, sometimes those things are also going on in the quote unquote traditional family as well, especially when you have children that are coming of age and, they just kind of go through things. So what would you say to another man who is preparing to blend a family, or is in a blended family but is struggling, or is in that traditional family and is struggling?
Get the book.
That was good.
Book. Learn.
I love
from my difficulties. It will be much more rewarding to you as a man. Get the book.
And thank you for that paid endorsement. I will be sending your show. So this once again is Kelvin Hugh, the husband of Dr. DrNaomiLHillHugh. So I have to ask you, with each of our guests, you have designated a tea blend for them. So this is beautiful, guys. I'm telling you. So which tea blend did you designate for your husband? And then tell us why.
Okay, so I have Maui Mango, and it is actually a blend of pineapples and, let me put my glasses back on. Hold on. It is a blend of pineapple, orange spices, mango, hibiscus, strawberries, and marigolds. And so the reason why I chose this is an immunity tea, and so it helps you to recover and refuel. So there are nutrients in there to help you to recover and refuel. And so it says Maui Mango. My husband loves mangoes, and we actually honeymooned in Maui.
Oh.
So this is my blend for my husband. So he's sweet, the pineapple and the mango, and when we got married, it was definitely for to recover and refuel some nutrients. So he's my Maui Mango.
Your Maui Mango. I love that. Your Maui Mango. So,
You're welcome.
Oh, I'm gonna close that. Okay, y'all finish. So before we let Mr. Kelvin go, what would you say about your journey with your husband these past, how many years?
14.
14 years.
So when we got married, I always said, well, when I was single, I always said at my age, because like I said, I was 39 when I got married and my husband was 50 when we got married. But at our age, you know, I said, I'm not looking for a knight in shining armor. Not looking for a knight in shining armor. I'm not looking for this, you know, oh, it's the princess who's going to get married and she's just going to ride into the sunset and have this happily ever after. And so I knew that blending a man who had been married for, who had been single for so long, and a woman who had been single for so long, that you kind of have your ways, your bends that you're set in, and that. But I always knew that it would take a lot for me to throw my marriage away. And so when I was having difficulties in my marriage, I just always thought, you know, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, for in sickness and in health. And so as I was going through these difficult times in my marriage, it just made me reflect on my marriage vows. And so even though we're here where we are, I believe that my husband's frustrations were different than the frustrations that I had, and his challenges were different than the challenges that I had. But all in all, I still said, well, this is our better or worse. You know, this is our worst. We're going to get through it, because Dr. Naomi always sees the glass half full. So,
And there were clearly more betters than worse.
clearly.
I would just like to add one thing for the men. Get a support system. That's something that we men very seldom do. Get a support system, because you're going to need a support system as well.
That is so key. And I'm not sure if you heard him, he said, but men, it's so important for you to get a support system as well. And I just want to say this, there's another reason why you would definitely want to get this book, because there's a portion of this book that includes, in their transparency, some pretty steamy love letters between Naomi and Dr. Hugh. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, I said Naomi and Dr. Hugh. I apologize. Between Kelvin and Naomi. And that really, as a married couple, inspired me. That they inspired me. They were steamy in a different way, in a deep and meaningful way. So again, that's Blended Beyond Expectation, a memoir written by Dr. DrNaomiLHillHugh. And we thank you, Kelvin, for sitting in with us today.
Anytime.
All right.
You're welcome.
So next we're going to be bringing in two of, Naomi described these ladies as the in the trenches friends. And what do you mean by that? The in the trenches friends. And by that, we're hoping that Stephanie and Gail, you're up next. So get ready, get ready, get ready. So why are they your in the trenches friends?
So when I went to medical school at Howard University, shameless plug.
Howard University. You know.
So Howard University College of Medicine, and there were two women who were there from what I call my becoming. And so I conceived my son Justin when I was in medical school. And so it was a difficult road, and it was very intentional for me to be able to stay in school and to graduate with my class. And Stephanie and Gail came into Howard University College of Medicine with me. And
They're both doctors now.
They are both doctors.
What type of doctors?
Stephanie is a family practitioner, and Gail is an obstetrician gynecologist.
Oh, you're all
And they
good.
both practice in the state of Maryland. Those are my sister friends. And we were bridesmaids in each other's weddings. And so they're very, very special to me. In fact, Justin has two godmothers, and Gail is one of them. And they were there with me when it was really, really difficult, when I was going through the difficult beginning of being truly a single parent. And even through all of my peaks and my valleys in my marriage and the difficulties with the blending of my marriage, they were always there. There's something about having friends who were there with you from the beginning of your beginning. And so when you're going through, you always go back to them. You pick up friends along the way. I have friends that I have picked up for along the ways. But this friendship goes back some 29 years.
And you know what? Here's the thing. Not many people can say nowadays that they have friends that have literally stood the test of time in that way. So these ladies, two ladies, are very near and dear to Dr. Naomi's heart, and she felt it very important for them to share in on today's event. So welcome, Stephanie and Gail, to today's Talk and Tea with Dr. Naomi, celebrating the virtual book launch of Blended Beyond Expectations, written by Dr. NaomiLHillHugh. And you can pick up you can pre-order your copy at DrNaomi.org. Yes, I'm gonna keep on saying it. DrNaomi.org. You can pre-order your copy today. Now don't get off right now. You just stay on and listen. But after today's presentation, we hope that you go over to that website. Again, that's DrNaomi.org to pick up that book. So, Stephanie and Gail.
I see Gail. There's Stephanie. Hi.
Hey. Hey.
So, welcome. Now, please introduce yourself, this beautiful young lady in this multicolored top with the base color of cream. Who are you?
I'm Stephanie.
And the other young lady we have on the screen?
Hi, I'm Gail.
Can you see her? Okay, well, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna speak with you first, Stephanie, and then we'll bring Gail in since you're on the screen. Is that okay?
That's fine.
All right, so so you've heard, have you read the book first?
No, the book is been a tightly held secret, so I can't wait to get my hands on a copy.
Girl, let me tell you, it's a page turner. So one of the things that we are being very intentional about today is this tea aspect. And we've asked all of our guests who will be joining us via for the video land, technology, to select a tea blend or a tea component or a tea leaf that really puts you in the mind of your relationship with Dr. Naomi or makes you think about Dr. Naomi. Which did you select?
So for Naomi, I have chosen for you Star Anise. It's a spice, and I think it represents you really well. This spice comes from the fruit of the Chinese evergreen tree, and it's aptly named from its star-shaped pods, and which the spice comes from the seed. So, and the seed tastes a little bit like licorice, and it reminds me of you because it is beautiful. It's very unique. It's also very complex because you have to go beneath the surface to actually get to the seed that flavors the tea. And the flavor for the tea is a little bit like licorice. And the flavor is strong. And if you've ever tasted licorice, you know that it's a very distinct flavor. And so Naomi is not lukewarm at all in her love for the Lord, in her telling truth as a physician, or in her dedication and loyalty to her family and friends. So that's why I thought that the strong flavor reminded me of you. And if you know her, then you know her family. Even if you haven't met them in person, you've heard about her husband, her mother, her father, her grandmother, and her aunts. And so that reminds me of you. You're so dedicated and loyal to your family. It also has some medicinal benefits, just like you do as a healer. It's an antioxidant and immunity booster, and it's also used in a lot of culinary treats, desserts and dishes, and you are an excellent cook.
Thank you.
So much of what I read in the readers that were going to pre-order this book, and when they get the book, and those in the future who will read this book, we are reading and having our experiences through reading, but you were a very integral part of her life as she was living these experiences and going through. And so I'm just repeating this at the request of the honoree, the published author herself, Dr. Naomi, without you don't have any spoilers, so this is gonna be easy for you. How was it to be that in the trenches friend watching your friend go through some pretty tough situations?
It was very inspiring. It was like watching the strongest person that you know. She was like a tree, just completely stable and strong. No matter how the wind would blow her leaves or her branches, she still stood strong. And one of the things that I can say is just her faith. That was the thing that really came out to me. When I went to medical school, I was not a Christian. I got saved the second year of medical school. And my relationship with Naomi and just knowing her and her demonstrating her faith was an integral part of me choosing to live my life for Christ.
So, in your own words, what would you like to say to Naomi on this, the occasion of her virtual book launch of the book, Blended Beyond Expectation? You can pre-order your copy at DrNaomi.org, but what would you like to say to her as one of her closest and dearest friends?
I just want to say, Naomi, I am so proud of you. I know that you have so much inside of you and that God is just using you for the greater good, and just keep going and keep shining brightly. And I love you.
I love you too, Stephanie.
Oh, this is just the best. And so I know what would you like to say to Stephanie? I'm sorry, I called you Gail earlier. I'm sorry, Stephanie. I need tissues, guys. Please.
You know, this is, I can say this of Stephanie, I can say it of Gail, and I can say it of Linda, who is one of my dear sister friends, who's also one of Justin's godmothers. And Linda just lost her mother this recently, and she's not able to join on today, but I don't have any sisters. And you three are the closest thing that I can ever imagine is a bond between sisters. When you don't see each other, when we don't see each other, we go to New York for a girlfriend's weekend and you separate, and your girlfriend is crying when she's in the elevator leaving, and you're crying when you're walking to your car, but you haven't seen each other in so long, you just pick up the pieces where you left off. And that only happens when you have a connection with somebody who's been there, who knows all of your secrets, who knows all of your strengths, who knows all of your weaknesses, who loves you unconditionally without question. And that's my sister friends. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
And when you think of your sister friends, and we're going to do this in between Stephanie and Gail speaking, when you think of your sister friends, and clearly just the thought of them, it just evokes so much emotion. The thought of them in your bond evokes so much emotion for you. What teas come to mind when you think of your sister friends?
Okay. I say raspberry, passion fruit, and black tea. This is a, okay. This passion berry jolt. Passion berry because it helps with fatigue, and it's a physical boost. It is a tea blend that energizes. It's a tea blend that nourishes. So even every now and then girlfriends need to get together. We got together on a group telephone call the other night. Unexpected to me, but my girlfriends had planned it, so they already knew that they were going to call me. And even that, it just gives me, you guys just give me a boost. And I love raspberries, and I love passion fruit. So you guys are just a sweet, sweet inspiration to me. So this is the tea that I think about when I think of you guys.
Thank you.
And thank you for being Dr. Naomi's, some of her biggest cheerleaders, several of her biggest cheerleaders. Thank you for joining us today, Stephanie. Gail, how are you today? You can unmute yourself.
Gail, can you hear us?
I can.
There you go.
I'm
So,
unmuted.
Gail, so you are one of the legs on this table here, and so as you as I'm listening, everything about you have these moments, and you're so transparent, and you're so open with your expression of love for the people that you love. I sometimes feel like, should I be watching this? Am I interrupting on their moment? Is this what your sister is all about?
Absolutely, absolutely. She said it the best. You know, when we come together, this bond, it doesn't matter. We all have these lives that take us, you know, to so many different ends. But when we come together, it's like our magic just comes together as friends. We are true sister friends, and we share and we open up and we're transparent, and we know we're in a safe place when we're together like that.
So as readers will come to learn, there were many ups and downs in Dr. Naomi's journeys. More ups than downs, but we have to admit there were many ups and downs. There were some mountain experiences and definitely some valley experiences. So if you were speaking to other sister friends, meaning, you know, you're speaking to people who claim to be sister friends to other women, how can a sister friend best support one of their buddies, one of their near and dear sisters that are going through? What is the most useful way to be a support to your friend in need?
You know, one of the best parts about these two ladies, Naomi, her foundation is known. She is a child of God. And we know that when we come to her, we're asking advice or in need of a shoulder to cry on or just a friend to just hear us out, we know that we are protected in that space, and that if there's wisdom to be shared, the source is our Lord. And we're going to get that information from Naomi, you know? And when you know you have that person to call on that is tangible, because you're praying and you want to hear from God, but then sometimes you just need a vehicle through which it comes through. And, you know, Naomi has been that friend that consistently through the 29 plus years that we've been friends, he has consistently been that friend.
So 29 years of friendship.
Yes.
And then you pair that up to a 14-year marriage. I have to think that there was quite a bit of adjusting that this your own version of the traveling sisterhood, the traveling pants sisterhood. I think I got that wrong, but there were some adjustments that needed to be had because, you know, you were an established circle of support and friendship, probably traveling buddies, and, you know, really at one another's beck and call when you needed to be, not just for, you know, tragedy or bad emergencies, but come on, girl, let's just go somewhere. So, how did that dynamic change for you guys when, who was the first to be married?
Stephanie. Stephanie got married right after we graduated from medical school.
Okay, so were you like the last one?
I was.
Okay, so that actually makes it even more interesting. So how was it, what changes did you ladies find, and I'm giving you permission to speak on behalf of all ladies, but what changes did you have to make in the dynamic to make sure that Naomi knew that you were there, present in her life, but now you knew you had to play a different role because now she was married and she had a husband, and, you know, and it was like a ready-made family, a husband and kids. So how did that dynamic change? And also in your response, if you can speak to women out there who may be in that predicament and maybe that they haven't made the transition so well?
Well, I can say this. We all were mothers of boys. And that was one of the most remarkable things because all of us had boys, and the elder boys were about the same age. So one of the most remarkable trips that we ever took, because, you know, we weren't going to let this friendship fall apart. Oh, no. We brought our husbands with us, and we headed out to...
Did the husbands get along?
That's right. We had the whole family, and we headed out to the Poconos and had all three couples. We had, I think it was 2 townhouses, and we filled them up with our families, and the boys could play together. We could connect and have a sisterhood, and the husband had to get to know each other. They all very nicely.
So I guess it sounds like I really should be speaking to the husbands of all you. Like, what did you know what you were getting yourselves into? But no, seriously, I do know that I have a lifelong friend who I've called her my cousin for so long that I forget sometimes that she's not my biological cousin. But I know that when we first got married, it was a little difficult for me to explain to her, you know, now hubby comes first, because it was always, prior to that time, she and I. And is that kind of a conversation that you ladies ever had to have? Or was it kind of like you already game planned, you already knew how this is going to happen?
I would say we already knew. And it's funny because our husbands were all born in the month of May.
That's right.
All born in
This is getting weird.
And we all married men who already had 1 son.
That's right.
Was that? I'm sorry that that was planned.
So we
It really wasn't, and it really wasn't, and it's just the magic of it all. In fact, 2 have the exact same birthday at the time, as I'm a divorced woman now, but May 11th. Yeah.
May 11th.
Yeah.
So Gail's ex-husband and my husband have the same birthday, and then Stephanie's husband is what, 1 week later? Yeah, 1 week later.
Well, what would you like to say to your special sister friend today, Gail, on this auspicious occasion, the celebration of her book, Blended Beyond Expectation? You can pick it up at DrNaomiLHillHugh.org. I'm going to keep putting it in there. You can pre-order it at DrNaomiLHillHugh.org. What would you like to say to your very special sister friend on this day?
Naomi, first of all, girlfriend, I love you. I love you. I love you. And this is no surprise to me, because anything that you say you're going to do, you get it done. And I am excited about this book. I'm just waiting on pins and needles for my copy. I can't wait to dive into it. I just know that it's going to be an exciting read. I have selected a spice for you, so I can tell you that my spice really speaks to who you are, and I was so excited to figure out a spice that worked this well for you. So I'm going to share oolong as the spice.
Yes, what's your spice for me?
That is right, oolong. Oolong. It speaks to your nurturing heart, it speaks to your giving spirit, and it speaks to how you show up as a daughter, as a sister, as a mother, as a wife, as an auntie, as a Christian leader in your church, as a physician healer, and as a grandmother, and also as a true sister friend. It speaks to your uniqueness as well, because we're all familiar with the fact that there are black teas and there are green teas, but oolong teas is neither. It's neither of those. It represents only 2% of the world's tea, and it's exceptionally flavorful. If you're on the spectrum and you put green tea at one end and you put black tea at another, oolong tea sits gracefully right in the center. And that's where I see you sitting gracefully central and able to see and do a little bit of everything. If you dive even deeper, you know, if you steep in oolong tea, it allows for some of the most robust tea flavors that you can think of. The aroma is that of floral, and the aftertaste is a soothing taste. So when people talk about it, they say it's full-bodied, and it's no surprise that the research also shows that it harbors all these health benefits, because it's about you, Naomi, and who else would else have this healthy perspective on life? So oolong is one of the best. It improves gut health. It has vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. It has amino acids, and it promotes relaxation. It prevents diabetes. It can improve skin health. It can be used in weight management regimens. It can be used for improvement of cardiovascular disease. It contains fluoride, and it increases strength of the teeth and the bones. It decreases inflammation in the body, and it even contains oxidants that scavenge free radicals, and those can lead to the prevention of certain cancers. So here we have a tea that is a wonderful spice, but it can do so many wonderful things. I could keep going on. I don't know if you have time for it.
Thoughtful response, such a thoughtful response, and she did share, and I hope you were able to hear when she was sharing the tea that she selected for her sister friends, which was, again, that raspberry, an energizing tea, the passion fruit energizing tea. And I don't know, I just thank you for being such pillars in her life. And what would you like to say to Gail?
The same as for Stephanie. You know I love you, girl. You know I love you. You know I love you. Thank you for being there beyond when I needed you to be there. And thank you for always allowing me to be open and honest and transparent. Even when I sometimes feel like it's a burden for me to share, thank you for even telling me, being upset with me for not sharing when I should have. Thank you. Thank you for that.
In a world where most people say that you can't get, more than 3 women to agree and to remain friends for a long period of time, you ladies are proving them wrong. You have 29 years of proven friendship, and that's very, very special.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So now, which tea are we sipping right now?
I don't know.
It's tasty. And you know what, she didn't even have to put any sweetener in it. Like, for me, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I apologize. I went ahead and had to get another little sip there. So back to your book, Blended Beyond Expectations, which you can pre-order today at DrNaomi.org. Yes, I'm going to keep on saying it. So a big part of the blending, the reason why you're blended is because of, what do you call my boys?
My 3 sons.
My 3 sons.
My 3 sons.
My 3 sons. Let me ask you a few questions. How long were you a single mom before you married Kelvin?
11 years. Justin was 11 when I got married.
So 11 years. So I'm thinking back to when my boys were 11, and I'm pretty sure it was interesting to introduce a male into the fold, especially when you have sons, because I really do believe that sons think that their subtitle is husband, father sometimes. And I said, listen, I'm the mother. Like, you're not my husband. I don't have to answer to you. And I do think that began around 11 years old. But here is the big question that I think could sometimes be a little interesting to tackle. How does your family, the Hugh family, handle addressing the adults? So how did you decide upon how the boys would address the bonus parents?
Oh, we just asked them. We just asked them, and they shared. Would you like me to share?
Well, let me ask you this follow-up question. Do you prefer the title stepmom, or is there a different arrangement in the family? So is it like stepmom and stepdad, or is it a different arrangement in the Hugh family?
No, it's a bonus parent. Our children have bonus parents.
So did you ever foresee yourself, so Dr. Naomi now, right? Did the younger Naomi ever foresee herself, was that ever a possibility of being stepmother?
No, I didn't think so. I thought that I would get married and have 5 biological children with my one husband. So not only did I not foresee myself as being a stepmother, even beyond that, I never foresaw myself as being a single mother.
Oh. Because you were the second grader that knew what you wanted to be in life, and you did it. So now I noticed when I said stepmother and stepdad a few seconds ago, you kind of cringed a little. What was that cringe about?
I don't like to use the word step. When you use step, it almost makes it seem like the other parent is outside of the circle of the blend.
Oh, so it's like you guys in the house and they're on the step outside.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're, well, we got this biological mom and parent going on over here, and this biological dad and parent over there, and then you got one in the middle. But it's not a circle with Kelvin and Steffon, a circle with Naomi and Justin, and then a big circle with us with Joshua. Like it's not 2 circles that are intertwined like that. It's just one big circle.
So, because this was something that I was thinking about as I was reading the chapters that introduced your boys, your 3 boys. What were your fears? Like once you knew that you and Kelvin were going to get married, and you knew it was a thing. And I know that you are a glass half full type of woman, but even the glass half full women, they do have fears, even if they don't express them. So what were your fears about being a bonus mom?
About being a bonus mom? Well, because I dated my husband for 3 years before we got married, I had been so Steffon was 12 when we got married. So I had been in his life for 9 years. And so I actually thought that my presence as his bonus mother was gonna be a pretty good thing. I didn't really have a fear. Like I didn't have a fear, like in the beginning with dating, you always fear, oh, my husband has a son. Is his son gonna like me? Is he gonna think I'm trying to take his mom's place? That sort of kind of a thing. But when we got married, I thought everything was going to be wonderful.
And you're going to have to read the book to understand why she keeps putting emphasis on thought. You can pick that book up, Blended Beyond Expectations, at DrNaomiLHillHugh.org. I know why, but you'll have to read to understand why she keeps putting that emphasis on that. But now, what were your fears about introducing a man in the life of your son?
I feared that my son would not accept my husband as his bonus parent, that he would put him on the outside and not allow him into the space that was mommy and son.
So I have to ask you this question just to kind of get a fuller picture. So for Steffon, mom's and his biological mother's in the picture, and for Justin, his biological father is in the picture. So yeah, that can make things a little more complicated. I would imagine that they kind of felt, you know what? I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Can you take that seat over there so I don't have to imagine how they feel? I'm just going to ask them some questions. I would like to introduce to you at home her 3 boys. Her 3 boys as they come. You're good. Did I pull it out? Are you good? Her 3 boys as they come. Justin first. And then we have Joshua. And then we have Steffon. Now, the first thing that you're going to notice, like look really, get up close on the screen, guys. You see that guy in the middle, Joshua? He is the perfect blend of these 2. Steffon, can you show your eyes just for 1 second?
Oh, I'm sorry. Prescription.
Oh, no worries. When I was looking, I said, oh my gosh, he is the perfect blend of you 2. And when I said that to Joshua earlier, I said, he has, you have your big brother Steffon's, the face shape, and then I feel like Justin's like in the middle. And then I said to him, Joshua, look to your right. If you want to know how you're going to look when you're older, look to your right. Mm-hmm. And he says, what? I'm like, because you're going to look like Steffon. And he goes, well, that's not a bad thing at all. Really not. So, guys, welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having us.
So, one thing I have to say was when Dr. Naomi told me that her sons, my three sons, consented to be and wanted to be a part of today, I was like, wow, that is amazing, because let's just face it, not too many guys your age would be comfortable sitting up. Am I right?
Not too many.
Were there threats? Because usually I have to, like, there's threats usually involved. You better, if you want something to eat, you better do this. Were there threats involved? You can tell me.
I ain't get it. No, I love my mom.
Oh. So, Steffon,
yes.
We'll start with you first, because you are the older one,
you know.
So, give me your stats. I know you're proud daddy.
Yeah, father of 2 right now. I have a carpentry business, but it's not, booming the way I want it to right now. Dabbling stocks, and then I'm also a caregiver, so very good.
Just gonna ask you to speak up just a little more so our folks at home can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was just, reiterating, I'm like very busy with work and everything, so yeah.
The more I look at you now, especially since you took your glasses off, you are Kelvin's child.
Yeah,
you are Kelvin's child for real. Your mannerisms and everything. All right, Justin, give us your stats.
My stats. Well, I just had my first biological daughter. Her name's Nola. She's 2.5 months old now. Her mother also has another daughter. Her name is Luna. As my mom just mentioned earlier, she calls me dad. Been there since she was about 4 months old. A lot of people who may know me, I'm a musician. I went to Full Sail. I'm an audio engineer. That's what I do to hustle in my own business. I broke down recently and got a job, so I am working now. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that struggling artist life is not too fun.
It's not too fun. I have gained a lot of progress in my own music career over this year. It's been a good year for me, but I'm still not paying my bills off of it. But I am working now. So, but that's where I'm at.
There you go. And Joshua, give us your stats, sir.
Well, I am 13 years old, as my mom mentioned earlier. I love to play sports. I'm also a proud YouTuber. That's what I want to be when I grow up. I used to want to be an NBA player, but then I realized you guys go for stuff more realistic. And YouTube's really not that realistic, but it's something I want to be happy with. I don't want to be working a job that I'm not really happy with.
So I have to say this to you. YouTubers, there are kids your age that are making so much money playing with toys, reviewing the toys. So what I'm thinking is that what everyone in the family needs to know is that you're probably going to be taking care of everyone financially if you become that YouTuber. Am I right, guys?
That's real, though. Not wrong about that.
So let's just start out. Have any of you read any pieces of the book? Steffon. Yes or no before we get into it?
No, I did not.
Okay, Joshua?
No, I haven't.
I haven't read one word in the book.
I mean, can you put it any plainer? But we'll get into that in a second. So we're going to start with Steffon. What did you think about Naomi saying, that she was going to write a book?
Well, my first thought, I immediately was like proud of her because I already knew, with everything in her life, it's, more than book reading. And I was also a little skeptical because I'm like, wait, well,
how am I fit into this?
Yeah, how am I fit into the book? But after a few moments of thinking about it, I really had no worries at all.
So take us back. What was your relationship like with your dad before? Now let me ask you a question. I did ask her earlier. Stepmom's not a thing. So what was the title that you gave her?
Did I call you mom? Mom too. Yeah, I called her mom too.
Mom too.
Mom too.
So what was life for you and dad before mom too came in?
Oh, well, yeah, me and my dad, we haven't always seen eye to eye for some years. So, you know, when that whole thing went about, it was a lot going on between me and my dad. So I couldn't necessarily become closer to my mom too, the way I wanted because of what me and my dad was going through. Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, pretty much it.
So Justin, what do you, okay, you said not one word, but what did you think about your mom writing a book?
I was excited because it felt like now my mom will really understand me on a different level because I'm an artist. So it's like I'm already creating these types of things, not a book, but sound. But it's like now that I watched her go through the process of making it the book. So like when I first thought about it, I was like, wow, this is probably going to be cool. I'm probably going to be able to be a really big help. And for once, I help my mom and she's not necessarily helping me, you know what I'm saying? So when I heard, I'm like, I support it, go for it, you know? I was happy.
From your words, what was your relationship like with your mom before? Now, Kelvin,
It's Kelvin.
dad too?
Kelvin.
Kelvin, okay, I'm just making sure. So what was your relationship like with your mom?
Straight mama's boy. I remember going to my dad's and crying because I wanted to come home and see my mom. You know what I mean? Like I've always been like that. Even to this day, it's like I still long for her. I'm just more of a man now, so I've learned how to be on my own. But it was always mama's boy.
So I have to say this, that although you didn't read the book, sir, I read the book.
Yeah, lucky you.
And you are quite talented, and you'll have to pick up that book to understand why I said that. You are quite talented, but I have to say that your love for your mom really shone through in one particular chapter. And I had that moment once again, like I felt like I was intruding on mom and son. Yeah. And so I just love the fact that you are not bashful about your love for your mother.
Yeah, of course not. I don't see why anybody would be.
So let's face it, you're a pretty significant person in the blending and how the blending of the family went. And again, let's be honest, some would say you kind of made things more difficult to blend.
I will say that I was probably 85% of the problems. I will say that.
Okay, so how do you feel, or what are your thoughts when you hear that, though? That, you know, let's just face it, a lot of it kind of, you were a central character.
Mm-hmm. I mean, initially, my pride kicks in. It's like, oh, I don't want to hear that prodigal son, this, that, I don't want to hear it. But, like, you know, when you really think about it, it's the truth, and it is what it is. I've learned to accept, you know, decisions I've made. I put my mom, my parents through a lot. You know, I was young, but it is what it is. Like, I can't act like that's not what it is. I'll own up to it every time, you know.
One of my favorite passages in the book is actually words from you.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it from?
Oh, wait, I'm gonna tell you what it is. I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's this. And you know, I was actually trying to, like, in my mind, I'm an artist, but not really, but I was trying. Before you run, you must learn to crawl. Then you learn to stand, and then you learn to walk. But before you walk, you must learn to crawl. And when you stand, don't be scared to fall. Build the strength in your legs and be prepared for all. When the devil attacks, it's like wood to a saw. One lifeline left, there ain't no time to stall. God is on the phone, will you answer the call?
That shit shows that my back just now. I forgot I even wrote that.
This was one of those moments I felt like I'm intruding on such a mom and son moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you think about the journey till now, and you said that just sent chills down your spine. Why?
Because it just reminds me of where I was in that time, and I just remember the emotions that I was feeling, and those types of emotions that I felt at that time are very foreign to me now. So to think about feeling that now and just feeling, it's just like, it's scary. I don't even want to go there again. You know what I mean? It's just, like I said, sent chills down my back. But yeah, that was a deep one. I remember that one. And
I actually sat and reread it a couple of times because I was feeling you as I was reading it. I could feel it. And before I let you go, the last part to that passage, Naomi, I want you to listen too very intently to this piece. So, I hope you have come to know and understand why I pray the way I do, why I ache the way I do, why my mind races when you are in trouble, why storms rage in my heart when you are in trouble. Not only when you are in trouble, but when you are troubled. There is a part of my spirit that will always remain attached to you. I feel things when you are unsettled that you don't know that I feel. I experience joy in my spirit when you have a spiritual breakthrough. It's just a matter of fact. What would you like to say to your mom on today?
I wasn't expecting to be asked that. Like, I love you, Mom. It's not, I don't even know how to put it into words. It's just a big ball of just this emotion that I feel towards you. It's like words can't even describe it. I wish I could show more through my actions. Like, I actually, you know what, let me put it this way. I tell you this all the time. One day I hope that I can be the type of help to you, like to the same magnitude that you helped me. I want to be able to help you that way, because obviously you don't need money, but it's like there's something else that I want to be able to do that'll just bring that same type of like support that you've always shown me in my troubling times. I just one day want to be able to do that.
As I read that passage and thought about that passage, I said, wow, that is definitely from mother to mother. I felt that. And from mother to son, I'm pretty sure reading that.
Yeah, it's probably, I'm not really like that over books, so I feel like I'm gonna end up crying reading this book.
You will, trust me, you will, because I did. Joshua, so you are the proverbial kid glue to this blending. As Dr. Naomi always says, you're the reason why we're blended.
Yeah.
So how does that feel for you?
I really don't know, because I always heard about stuff about the path and these kids. These kids. I really don't know, because somehow I feel like I'm a structure in a place. I don't really know.
So I hear that you're an uncle times 3.
Yeah.
So how you feel old?
No, it was really weird, like hearing when Dory was getting born. I was just like, wow, I'm be an uncle. Like, how old is she now?
She's
4, so I would be 9. So being an uncle at 9, it was just weird, and I just felt awkward. It was like, my Uncle Brian, I was his nephew when he was older, so I'm like, wow, I'm very, very young to be a
So how do you feel about Mom being a published author with her book Blended Beyond
I
Expectations?
actually find it really cool, because every time I go shopping with her, like there's always somebody that's gonna be like, hey, you're my pediatrician, and something that just like makes me feel like my mom's very popular. And I just feel special, and I feel like that I can't have more bragging rights talking about how she's the author and stuff.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about you. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it is. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. So when you think about your 3 sons, do you mind passing this down to? Which blend speaks to you?
My boys are, let's see. Where's my blueberry wild child? Blueberry wild child. This is the blend for my boys. It has apple, again hibiscus, elderberries, rose hips, pomegranate bits, cornflower, and blueberries. And these are these help me to, let me get my notes. These are superfruits and antioxidants. So they are, my boys are super. You guys are super to me. You give me so much strength, and you give me so much purpose. And each one of you is wild in your own ways. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So that's my blend for my boys.
There you go. Well, thank you, Dr. Naomi. for being with, I'm sorry, thank you, sons. Dr. Naomi, it's your day. So I was going to say thank you, Dr. Naomi, for being with us. But thank you, sons, for being with us. And thank you for being such a support to your mom.
Sure, of course.
There you go. He's at any time. Thank you, guys. So next we have two women that are going to be joining us via virtually. These women are Hawa Johnson, Hawa Jusu Johnson, and Bernai Brown Holeman. And when asked, Dr. Naomi said that these were her warrior women friends. Why'd you say they're your warrior women friends?
Because sometimes you need somebody who's gonna war for you in the spirit and in the spiritual realm when there are things that are going on that are just intangible, that you can't see, that you feel, that you know that are there, that you have to fight against. And these are women who war in a spirit in prayer and war in a spirit in dance.
Great. And so first we have up, and I'm thinking I see, is that Bernai? Is that you? Oh, Hawa. Okay. We have something blocking your face. I'm sorry, so I couldn't see you. So make sure you're unmuted. Hello, Hawa.
Hi, Candy and Dr. Nay.
So Dr. Naomi thought it was so very, very important to have you two ladies to be a part of today. And I know you can't wait to get the book.
Exactly. Can't wait.
So when you think of Dr. Naomi, what's tea, either the tea leaf or something that you put in tea, what comes to your mind?
So thyme immediately comes to mind. It is an herb with culinary, medicinal, and ornamental use. As we know, Dr. Nay loves to cook. She's also a physician healer and a spiritual healer, and she loves decor. So had to have a herb that represented all three. It is an herb that is used in chicken and stuffing and fish and soup, has many diverse properties. But what I found out, I looked up that in medieval times, thyme was actually given to knights and warriors as gifts. It was placed on their armor as a sign of a knight's courage. And I have known Dr. Nay for well over 10 years, from just journeying with her through many peaks and valleys, and meeting her in dance ministry, rehearsal, having Joshua in rehearsal, to her blending her family. She's just exhibited such unwavering courage that has just been consistent. So needed a spice that would represent that.
So when you, Howard, because when Dr. Naomi and I were talking in preparation for today, she said that you and Bernai played a very specific role in her life and her journey and some of her dark moments. We know, as I said earlier, that she had some mountaintop moments that she made me aware that you ladies were present for those, but you were also present in those valley moments as well. So in thinking about your relationship with Dr. Naomi, what comes to mind? And when you think about the relationship and it all culminating with the writing of this book?
What really comes to mind is Naomi's resilience. I was able to watch her mother, Justin, during a very painful and difficult time. It was what we call allowing your child to hit rock bottom, and to watch a mother cover that child even at the child's lowest, at Justin's lowest. She never wavered in her faith in him. She never wavered in her covering him. She never wavered in her being supportive of him, even at the lowest moments of his life and of her life as well. Her ability to be open and transparent during that time, to allow us to walk in and just help walk her through, help pray, help support her through that. It also, watching her during that time allowed me to just desire that characteristic, to be a mother that will cover my child no matter what. And so that is what birthed that in me. because of her. And she was there for me during a difficult time as well. And because of that, I had to have her be pediatrician to my child.
One thing in reading the book, I don't know if you were on early when I said I sat and read this book in one sitting. I legit thought I was only going to get through like half of the book. I went through all 254 pages in one sitting. That's how important this book was, and just well written, and it was an experience. It wasn't just reading a book, it was truly an experience. And one thing that I can definitely say is I think I feel like you need to put me on a mailing list, because I need to be at the next gathering, because like, that was very much a turning point for Dr. Naomi, was at that retreat that you hosted. And so put me on a mailing list, sis.
Got it.
I'm doing this in between you and Bernai, because Bernai is going to come on after you. But when you think of your good friends, your good sister friends, she calls you her warrior women. What tea comes to mind?
Actually, it is nutty almond cream. Where's my nutty almond cream? Where are you? Oh, here we go. It's a purple tea. It's a relaxer tea. So the nutty almond cream is a relaxation tea. It has nuts and apples, cinnamon, and beetroots. I don't even like beets. So for y'all too, y'all got some beetroot going on. But it's a relaxer tea, and it just reminds me to just breathe. Just breathe, just to let it all go, just relax and allow God to do what it is that He needs to do in my life.
You are the relaxing tea. Thank you so much for being a part of today. Dr. Naomi, is there anything that you would like to speak to Hawa at this time?
Oh, Hawa, you already know. You're awesome. We meet on Friday mornings at 6 a.m., a group of us for an hour of prayer every Friday morning. And we just stay connected. We hang out. And even if we can't hang out physically right now, even virtually, we still hang out. We still stay connected. And from the very beginning with Women of Judah, we always said we are more than just dance.
Yes.
And so now, thank you, Hawa. And so now we're going to welcome another sister friend of yours, a warrior woman, as she has titled you, a warrior woman. Thank you, Bernai. Make sure you're unmuted. And thank you for joining us today. Welcome, welcome.
This is a pleasure.
It was so very important. Dr. Naomi was very thoughtful about everyone she wanted involved in any aspect of today. And she said that Bernai had to be a part. And in reading the book, I can see why you were specifically a part. So that is another plug. Get the book, Blended Beyond Expectation, available on pre-order at drnaomi.org. So how would you describe your relation to Dr. Naomi?
Naomi and I, Dr. Naomi, we met during Women of Judah. So we were dance partners on the same dance ministry. And like she said, Women of Judah was more than dance. It was a ministry of women coming together and really warring in the spirit to do what God called us to do. And through that, we developed relationships that have flourished. And I would say out of that, we have really pushed each other, whether she knows it or not. She has pushed me as well. And I think we're that guiding force that forces, each other into that next realm that God wants us to be in.
So she described her first set of friends, sister friends that she had on as her in the trenches friends. And she described when we were sitting down and talking in preparation for today as you and Hawa as her warrior women friends. And so she gave me her reasoning, and I believe she shared a piece of that today. But when you hear that she counts you as one of her warrior women friends, how does that resonate with you?
Well, first of all, it touched my heart so dearly. And I know that we stand together. We stand together as a tribe of women who are going to fight no matter what to see each other through, like I said, to the next dimension that God wants us to be in. And sometimes when we're going through different things or we're in the battle, we can't see the end. We need a sister friend to guide us there and to be able to see things that we can't see. That's on the other side. So to see that light at the end of the tunnel, to see what our true potential is, to see, okay, we're here at this moment, but God wants you to be here. And I know as a warrior, we can go to the throne of God and we can call on him and he will answer. And I saw that happening with Naomi. And I just thank God that he allowed us to be on that journey together and for me to help in any type of way. I mean, that means that I have hopefully done what he has told me to do.
So when you think about Naomi, what tea or herb or tea accent came to mind for you?
I actually chose orange. So orange tea, because orange is such a vibrant flavor. You can use orange zest, you can use orange tea, you can, spice up anything with oranges. And oranges actually have great value to it. It helps with creativity. It helps with also sexuality. It helps with joy and enthusiasm. It promotes a general sense of wellness. And also the orange stone, I looked up the orange stone as well, and it increases and promotes or aids in personal power. And when I think about Naomi, those are some things that came to my mind, that personal power, endurance, perseverance, like Hawa was saying. And then, of course, with the health component as well. As you know, we need to be eating oranges. So we connect on that level as well. Just to promote.
You said personal power?
Personal power, yes. Personal
I
power.
agree with you 1,000% on that. Yes, that when, especially after reading this book, 1,000%. Personal power is definitely something that's synonymous with Dr. Naomi. Dr. Naomi, what would you like to say to Bernai?
I love you, girl. Keep helping me to breathe.
I love you too. And can I say there was this one moment that Naomi and I had, and we were at the reset retreat, and I remember we cast our cares, we pulled back the bow, and we let it go over the Chesapeake Bay, and we gave over our burdens over to God. And I just remember that releasing moment for you, and to see you at this point in time, it makes me almost cry. It doesn't take much as a pregnant woman, but it really, just to see how God has worked within you, has healed so many different wounds and has brought you to this point. I am just astonished at God, and then also through you, for you, through sticking it through. So I love you.
I love you too.
That is so
Thank you.
powerful. Bow and arrow, just casting your cares. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Bernai, for being a part of today. And
Love you.
Thank you for being such an important part of Dr. Naomi's life.
My pleasure.
You talked about not having any sisters, any biological sisters, but what I'm learning today is that you have a tribe of sisters in your life that definitely fill the void of not having a biological sister. But you do have two brothers.
I do.
And we're going to ask them if they would join us Brian and Darryl. Have you in the middle, is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. And you are? Darryl. Hi, Darryl. I'm good. And Brian.
Brian, yes.
All right. Okay, so who's older, who's younger? Is it like you're the oldest?
Stair steps.
There you go.
54, 53, 52.
And all of you look like you're, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna say you look like you're in your 20s, but you don't look like you're in your 50s. None of you. That's your twin.
We're Irish twins.
14 months apart?
11.
Oh, you really are? Oh, okay, yes, okay. And then what's the difference? 2 years.
So between the two of us, it's 17 months.
17. Oh, that's this. Oh, okay, 17 months. There you go. So, were you surprised to know that, and either one of you can answer, were you surprised to know that Naomi was writing a book?
No, you know, in the beginning, she said something to me about it, but you know, my sister, like, I already know what it is, but she's gonna do it. She's gonna do it.
She says that she's gonna do it.
She's gonna do it. I already know she's gonna do it.
How about you?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. I mean, Naomi told me, I guess, from the first time she's going to be intention to do it, and I've kind of been a part of the journey without knowing the details. They're very supportive and encouraging along the way, so I'm very excited for her, obviously, like everyone else.
Blended beyond expectation. You can pick that up on pre-order at DrNaomi.org. Don't get that back in there. I'm gonna point this because I've read the book. I'm gonna point this question to you first. But I'm coming to you, big brother. What was your relationship like with Justin prior to Kelvin coming into the picture?
My relationship with Justin, just, you know, fun-loving uncle, you know, not a super authoritarian figure. You know, I've always had kind of a light attitude in my way of relating to people. I did think that, given some of the issues that Justin struggled with early on, I thought that, you know, we would have like a different type of relationship early on in his life. But, you know, as Justin said, he's very much a mama's boy. He had a very, very close relationship with his mother above and beyond anything else. You know, and I felt as if I could have helped Justin out with some of the struggles that he was having, but unfortunately things didn't evolve the way I thought they might have early on.
How about for you, big brother?
You know, I was away for a minute. I was locked up. I was away for a minute. And like, I was locked up. I was away for a minute. And see, I remember him. He was little. She used to bring me to see me, but you know, as far as like when he started getting older, and you know, she would tell me, look, talk to him, he's not listening. And I told him straight up like this: my sister was my sister before she was your mother. There's just certain things you're not gonna do, And it's just not, you know, he changed. Maybe his child will change his life. You know, I love it. I don't want to see him in the system now, but you know, like, I'm glad I had a taste of the other side, so I know to tell him, look, you know, a lot of that's like some people, they born with money, they born into money. They don't know what it is to be broke. They don't know what it is to struggle and grind. Then when they get to that stage, they take their life. They don't, you know, you gotta know. I honestly feel like experience is the best teaching things. Like to know where you wanna be, you gotta find your lane and stay in there. The only way you're gonna know that is about what you go through in life. So that's what it is.
So this was a fun question we were thinking of. So what were your first impressions of Kelvin when you met or were told about him?
Me?
Either one.
At first, you know, like, honestly, I mean, you know, it's something I was listening to her say about, you know, as far as who she could have been with, you know, a doctor, a lawyer, or something like that. And being so I was down when she told me Kelvin was the CEO, at first I ain't think it was going to be right with me. Because I'm on the other side, he on the other side. That's how I looked at it. Not saying it was the right way to look at it, that's how I looked at it. And, you know, at first I thought Kelvin was going to try to, you know, the separation. Me and my sister close, you know, the separation between us two, I thought he was going to try to come between it because of his occupation and where I was at, but it didn't happen like that. And, you know, I told Kelvin straight up, you know, like, seriously, man, like, my sister, you know, everybody gonna go through what they go through in a relationship, but at the same time, you're a good man, my family love you, you're there for my sister, like, I love you, my brother, that's my brother right there. Now, Justin's dad, I'm gonna keep it real with you.
That's a different story.
Don't like it.
That's for the second book. You can catch that action on the continuation. So.
Nah, for me, I've always been cool with Kelvin from day one. You know, he's always been very respectful to my sister.
You can speak up just a little bit.
Yeah, she's always been very respectful to my sister and treated her right, you know. So I've never been, you know, that overprotective, you know, brother. I've been protective for sure, you know, both Darryl and I, you know, we were kind of hard guys. You know, I think one of the things that's always surprised me in life is how did this flower, this beautiful flower, grew up between these two very
Thorns.
guys.
I have to say, as I'm sitting here, so Naomi, I have 2 older brothers, right? So I legit didn't have my first boyfriend until they left the state. Like I legit didn't have my first like boyfriend that I could call my boyfriend. And I had to be very wise with that. I'm like, you have to learn how to hold your arms. My brother's gonna beat you down. So I know it had to be, was it interesting for you to introduce your brothers knowing that they're very protective of you to Kelvin?
Not so much to Kelvin because I was so old, you know, but in my younger years, like college and high school, yeah, it was something. I mean, Brian and I went to Rutgers University together for undergrad, and I can remember being at a party, like, and he came and put his hands, I was dancing, he put his hands in between me and the other guy and separated and said, back up off my sister. And so I dealt with that when I was, you know, when I was in college, but, you know, I was, you know, so I guess so old, you know, when I got married, so mature when I got married, and I was a mother already, and I was a physician already, that I think that he trusted my judgment at that time and was more supportive than feeling like he had to be defensive.
So I feel like definitely, see, he's kind of like the quiet, scary one. That's the one you gotta watch. I would just be, so look, he's telling you I'm crazy and here I come. Exactly. Right? Like, cause I could just see how he meaning for your sister. Meaning for your sister. Yeah. For your sister.
I'm like that with all of those in my family. My mom, my cousins, any of them. You know, just like that. And sometimes they tell me, Darryl, you ain't gotta be overprotective like that, you know, but you know, with certain things that I know I was doing, like I said, when you on the inside, you on the inside with the criminal minds. I know how men think and what they do. You know, it's like my sister ain't no street girl. She. I mean, some sisters bring things on themselves. She don't do that. So it better not happen.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this from one little sister with 2 big brothers or older brothers. We do actually, even though we might not say it, we actually do know that we have brothers that we can call at any time. We right, Dr. Naomi, we do enjoy having the older brothers. So now, brothers, and either one of you can take, actually, I'm gonna ask you, Darryl? Brian, I'm gonna ask you this question, Brian. Did you know your sister was struggling in blending the family and the depths to it, without giving the book content away? And how was that for you as a brother, as a very protective brother?
I was aware of various challenges that they were having, not the specifics of them per se, because my sister and I have always been very open, honest, and transparent with each other. So my sister talks to me and she confides in me. I mean, from college days, then like we went to Rutgers together. She was at Douglas campus. I was on Bush, and there were times she would call me early in the morning. We have to meet at the campus in the middle for breakfast or whatever and just talk and hammer things out. So we've kind of always had that type of mutually supportive relationship in that way. And so, again, without knowing the details of things that were going on, she would tell me from time to time, and I know they were very challenging moments, but I hear her and just try to listen to her and never tell her what to do because everyone has to find their own way. And I was always very supportive of their marriage despite their struggles. And I know it was hard for Kelvin as well because we talked also. You know, it was challenging for everyone. I'm aware of some of those things in general terms. But I'm sure the book will be quite revealing for me also.
Yes. Darryl, and you have self-disclosed that you were away. You were in prison for a time that she was going through some of the very deep parts of her story. Did you know about what she was going through, and how was that for you, being as though you were away, and whereas Brian could get to her if he needed to, but you could not?
I mean, like it was hard for me, but one thing I you know, even though you know I'm dealing with my own situation and what I was facing was real, I had a lot of time, you know, trying to give it back was serious for me. But at the same time, you know, I left a 7-year-old daughter out here. And I remember my sister said to me, like, she gonna be all right. You know, it's like, she gonna be all right. So now that her firstborn, and that was my firstborn, my only child to be, you know what I mean, real with you. But now her son is getting older and the streets, if the dad ain't there, the streets is gonna get you. And she said to me, he ain't listening. All right, well, tell him to talk. So I was there for, you know, it was hard, you know, for him, for me to be aggressive with him and, you know, but I knew that his dad was the type of individual he was, you know what I mean? And it's like, I just want to be there for him. And to this day, you know, I talk to him, I talk to Justin, you know, he got his child, I'm happy for him and everything like that. But I remember he said to me when I was locked up, you know, he said, you know, how you keep your mind the way you keep it and keep your sanity without going crazy. And I said, you just do it. He said, I remember he said to me, I'm gonna tattoo tears on my face in your honor, something he said to me to that effect. And I told him, I said, nah, don't tattoo your face up. I said, you wanna do something for me in my honor? I said, look, you be a good son to your mother. I said, you be a good example for your brother. And I said, you start listening to Kelvin. Because you up under his house and you doing what you want to do and you put clothes on your back and feed you. You got to start listening to him, point blank period. That's that in the story. But like I said, he coming along, you know, he coming along.
So when we think about Naomi, I know like you're her brothers and she's forever your sister, but the adults, Naomi, the full grown woman, what would you like to say to your sister? And I'll start with you, Brian.
Oh, wow. We are growing up, huh? I don't know. My sister is she's my mother's child. You know what I mean? Like again, Naomi, she didn't have any sisters growing up. She always had this very special relationship with my mom, which, you know, that's all too. They had their challenges too when we were younger, you know, growing up. But the thing I actually most like about my sister is, you know, the relationship that she has with my mom at this time in her life and all of the things that they do together. You know, that I really, really love that most about it, but nothing else about my sister surprises me at all. I mean, she's just an amazing model of commitment, drive, perseverance. And again, it was funny to me to hear her say that she was confused about whether or not she's known that she wanted to be a pediatrician since 3rd or 2nd grade. Like, I've been telling that story on her behalf my whole life, and I always knew it was 2nd grade. You know, and just to watch her persevere and to come into the pre-med program at Rutgers and Douglas and to be dissuaded each step along the way and just be committed to that. Like, I'm just proud of my sister, very proud of her. And to have a child in her first year of medical school, far away from home, incredible. So I'm proud of my sister.
And on the occasion of her book and thinking about, she's no longer the little sister. She's this full-grown woman and what she has been able to endure and still maintain those rose-like qualities. What do you say to her, Darryl?
Man, my sister, that's my sister. My sister go get it though. She wild. I mean, my sister wild. You know. You know, she never turned her back on me. Anything for my sister. You know, anything. I mean, anything. Love my sister.
Oh my gosh, okay, wait a second. I have terrible. Oh gosh.
Sister never turned her back on me. She had every opportunity to. I love my sister. Love my sister.
Naomi, when you think about your brothers, let me get myself together. Hold on. When you think about your brothers and your journey.
My brothers are all that I have. Like in terms of siblings, they're all that I have. And Brian is an attorney, criminal defense attorney. And Darryl struggled to make it through high school, stay out of trouble. And so, you know, people would see me and they would say, oh, your mother must be so proud. She has a son who's an attorney, and she has a son who's a daughter who's a physician. And I would say, well, there's 3 of us. And, you know, I would say I have a brother who's an attorney, and I have a brother who's an inmate. And so that's the reality of my being. And so I can't deny the reality of my brother's situation to protect somebody else or to hide something. And so because he was away for so long, it was just a part of my journey. And knowing that one day he's going to come home. And even though I had these struggles with my son, my one brother was here helping me in a capacity that he could. And then even though Darryl was away, I still visited him. We wrote so many letters. And just him still being that uncle to my son, even in his absence. And so yearning and waiting for him to come home and just saying, I gotta hold him down. Like, I gotta hold him down. Like, I have to be strong for him on the outside, even though on the inside, it's like killing me, you know, but these are my brothers and this is all that I know. These are my brothers. I'm in the middle of 2 boys. You know, this is, you know, it was so foreign to me for my one brother to be away. Like, it was foreign. And so when he came home, like, you see how we're sitting, this is our birth order. And so it's like, we're together again. You know, this is how, this is Bob and Merdis's kids. Like, these are the hills. Like, these are the hills. Like, this is B Hill, this is Tariq Hill, and I'm Naomi Hill. Like, this is Cedar Lane. This is Pleasantville. This is us. This is us. You know.
Cedar Lane through the hallway.
Yeah.
So, oh my God! Before you make me cry too much, when you think, and you hold that for your sister, when you think about your brothers,
Okay.
what T-Blend comes to mind?
There is a
This is just a love fest.
green machine.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
The lean green machine.
Lean green machine.
Yeah, this has green tea and lemongrass and orange and lemon, and it boosts your metabolism and maintains a healthy lifestyle. And so my brothers keep me going. My brothers keep me going, and they're my lean green machines, and look at them.
They are lean.
And they both love to work out and, you know, and to be healthy. So those are my brothers.
And your brothers, and that's all you can say. I don't know. See, you lit up in a different way. Like with Kelvin, when he came out, you lit up in that wifely way, right? When your brothers came and sat next to you, it was like I know that light, because I feel the same way when I'm with, because I'm not with my brothers often because they don't live. They live in Georgia, but it was like that knowing. I'm like, yeah, she's got her pillars next to her. So thank you guys for being a part of it.
It's crazy because my mom called me and told me, she said, you know, Nay's having this thing at the mommy told me about this. You remember, you ain't tell me, she told me. She said, Dad, I don't know what you doing, what you got plans.
You better be here.
Yeah.
That's what Mama said.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? So I'm gonna ask you guys if you can vacate your seat on the sofa so we can just, even for a brief moment, talk to Mom for just a couple of seconds. Because we can't, because without Mom Merdis, there would be no Naomi. So we're going to, I know we're running overtime, and if you have to go, I get it, but I did not want to cut Mom out because I think it's so important, and knowing the relationship that Naomi has with her mother, so important to make her a part of today. Mom, welcome. Naomi, when you think of Mom, what tea?
Oh, I don't
Don't
have
have a tea,
I
but-
don't have a particular tea for my mother, but it will be anything and everything that's fruitful, that gives life, that restores, that, you know, holds up. Like my mother is, I talk to my mother all the time. I tell my mother everything, probably some things that she doesn't need to know, that she doesn't care to know, that I shouldn't know. But like, I talk to my mom and my dad, who's in Georgia. But my mother is the oldest girl. She has, there were 7 of them, and there was one brother who was older than her. But my mother is the oldest girl. And my father and her mother, my mom, is still living. She's 95 years old. And my biological grandfather has passed on, but it was very difficult for my mother growing up. And because she was the oldest girl, my mother went from high school to being like a mother to her younger siblings, to being a wife, to being a mother. So my mother didn't go to college. My mother doesn't have an associate's degree, a doctorate degree, any kind of advanced degree, but my mother worked hard for what she has. And my mother sacrificed a lot so that her children could have the things that we have. So my mother doesn't have a lot of claim to fame. Her siblings, her sisters are both doctors, not medical doctors, but they're both doctors. My mother doesn't even have a bachelor's degree, but my mother has so much and she gives so much. And so at this point in my life, I make sure that my mother has. She made sure that I had, but I make sure that my mother has. Anything that my mother needs, I will give to her. If there's some place my mother wants to go, if there's something that she wants to see on this planet, I'm going to see to it that my mother goes. And so people always know, oh, that's Naomi's mom, even on Facebook. Oh, you're Naomi's mom. My mother say, why is my face plastered all over Facebook?
I knew her face. I knew your face. Oh my God, it surprised us today.
Yeah, but it's because she's my mom and she has given up so much and she has sacrificed so much for me to have what I have.
So Mom, first of all, thank you. Just the emotion that Dr. Naomi just expressed, and even speaking your name and describing you and giving you your flowers. I can tell that she has a true love for you.
As I do for her.
Your relationship. She told us how she looks at your relationship through her eyes, through the eyes of mother to child. Describe your relationship.
My relationship with Naomi is extremely special, and it always has been all of her life from the time she was born. She's my only daughter. She's my only daughter, and I love my sons, just as much as I love her. But there is this bond that is because she had no sisters. I was her sister also growing up, and she was my road buddy all the time growing up. Wherever I was, she was, and it's like we just shared everything growing up, and we do now. And I'm very, very proud of her, all of her accomplishments. All of the things that she accomplished through all sorts of difficulties and hardships.
So Mom, I'm glad you said that, because knowing how close you two are, how was it to, as mom, watch your daughter experience the things that she experienced, up until now?
Well, it was difficult to watch, but like she said, she always called me and talked to me, shared things with me. So wherever I could be of help, I was. Sometimes there was advice to be given. Sometimes it was just an ear to be lent. So whatever the need was at the time, I was there to give her that, and hopefully, usually she got out of it what I intended for her to get. And you know, it's not difficult. I mean, it's not easy being a single mother. I was divorced when my kids were relatively young. They were young teenagers when I got divorced, and teenagers are difficult as it is. This is the hardest time in their lives. I was 34 years old and I had 3 teenage kids, and I was recently divorced. And, you know, getting them through all of the stuff the kids go through, I mean, there were hard times between us, between the boys, between all of us as a family. But, you know, so I know, I said all that to say, I know what it's like to be a single mother and to be struggling and now you get married and now you've got other problems going on, you know, with the blended family. So, you know, there are things, there were lessons, there was advice that I could give her, you know, about this. But a lot of times, you know, it's all you can do is just listen.
So I know that you had hopes, dreams, and aspirations for your little Naomi, and now she's this full-grown woman. She's a wife, a mother, a pediatrician, and now a published author. What are your hopes and dreams and aspirations for this leg of her journey from mother to daughter?
All I can say is that I am extremely proud of where she is right now. If she never does anything more than she's done right now, then I'm happy. The proudest thing about, the thing that makes me the most proud about her, though, is not all of these accomplishments. It's the woman that she is. I'm just so glad that she turned out to be the woman that she is. She's kind, and she's loving, and she's giving, she's generous, she's honest. She shares herself with everybody. Asked or not, you know, she's just so good. And that to me is the most important thing. I don't think education and books and accomplishments make a person. It's who they are inside. And I say that about all of my kids, you know, and I had, you know, people did say to me, you have a doctor and you have a lawyer. And, you know, I'd say, well, I have 3 kids too, and he may not be a doctor or a lawyer, but he's a good person. This is what matters to me most. My kids are good people inside. They're good people. That's all that matters to me. So if she never does anything else, I'm happy.
So one of the things that I know, having been friends with Dr. Naomi for probably the shortest time out of all the people who've been on today, but she did make so much of an impact on my life. And then reading the book that much more, one thing that I know is that she has this deep-rooted love for God and devotion to God. Where did as mom, where did that come from, and how long as her mother, did you see that apparent in her life?
Well, she was raised in the church, but it wasn't really apparent. You know, people are saved at different times in their life, and it wasn't really that apparent to me as she was growing up. But it came more as you know, when she was an adult. She can tell you when she was saved. You were 8 years old. Well, I don't know. You know, she never expressed that to me, so I didn't know. But she was raised in the church. She was involved all the time. You know, she was familiar with prayer and reading the Bible and all of that. So, you know, it's not surprising to me that she grew up to be this way. And God informs everything that she does, and that's clear.
Well, and I don't want to put you on the spot. I guess I do, because I am. But when you think about T, when you think about either tea leaves or things that you would add to a tea for flavor, or even herbs that you would add, or fruits and things, what brings Naomi to mind?
Well, what I add to my tea usually is honey and lemon. And she's sweet and tart. So that's when the times
Very good.
when things need to be. So honey and lemon. That's how I think of her.
It's so funny that you say that because I've seen the sweet side of her. Like that's her like main, but the tart side. When she became my granddaughter's pediatrician, I saw a different side of Dr. Naomi. Like she's about her business. You want to make sure these kids are taken care of. And so, she is very much an advocate. I saw that tart side come out. I was like, oh, Dr. Naomi does more than smile.
And when I say tart, I don't mean that she's nasty.
No, not nasty, but stern when she needs
right.
to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so not nasty, it's a difference, right? Mm-hmm. But she's when she needs to be. Right. And guess what? Even that lemon, although it's tart, it has some good, it's tart, but it has some benefits to it.
It's extremely beneficial to you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mom. I know that we were running over, but I was like, I'm not gonna cut. At first I was like, oh, we gotta cut Mom. No, I can't cut Mom, because if there was no Mom, there would be no Dr. Naomi. So thank you so much, Mom, for being a part of today. Mm-hmm. So Mom Merdis was saying that Dr. Naomi was born and raised in the church, and her personal journey has grown her to where her personal journey in God, in Christ, and her love for church and her love for God and her love for God's people, that definitely I just want to say her love for God, I believe, kept her from breaking down and going completely, just reading the book. I'm like, God kept her. God kept her. No one else can get the credit but God. And there are next we're going to have two ladies to join us that we have Reverend Niki and we have Reverend Cheryl, who are both strong, godly women. And we want, and Dr. Naomi felt that it was so very important for you to be a part of her day today. And so who do we have first? We can't say, I'm sorry. Reverend Niki, welcome. And just make sure you're off mute, and welcome.
Hi, Niki.
Hello, hi.
There you are. And I'm not sure when you were able to pop in, but oh gosh, this has been a love fest. We cried, we laughed, and now we just we're putting this all together. How now you guys are bringing up the rear, putting it all together, because like I said, but God, much of her story is a but God story. And when she asked me to make sure that you and Reverend Cheryl and Pastor Joy were brought in, she described you ladies as her encouragers and cheerleader friends. What do you think about when you hear that and considering her journey?
Well, first of all, I am just tickled pink that I am a part of this. Hi, Candy. Hi, Dr. Naomi. I am super over the moon excited. Oh my goodness, about being a part of this. And I'm humbled. I'm humbled to actually be counted in the number of great women that you've already had on today. And Candy, I have been a part of the Cry Fest. I don't even know if I can even top anything that was said. But it's just amazing. And I'm honored that you see me as somebody that has been a woman of encouragement to you. You know, I met Dr. Naomi, oh my goodness, before there was any blending, before she was married. She was with me. I used to run a girls program called Becoming a Young Lady of Excellence at Bethany Baptist, and I was an associate pastor there. And I snatched Dr. Naomi up She actually ended up leaving me to go join Women of Judah, but I forgave her because I then snatched her back again and brought her a part of my marriage ministry, which we were doing at the church. And then when I had my daughter, it was not even a question who was going to be my pediatrician. And so it's just been an honor to watch you grow. It's been an honor to watch you grow. And I'm just humbled by the fact that I'm a part of this celebration and was a part of your journey.
So when you think about Dr. Naomi and her journey, because like you said, you were there before the blending and you were there through the process of the blending, and so you have experienced the mountains and the valleys with her in her life. Can you speak about that?
Sure. One of the things that stands out, I remember Dr. Naomi going through, and I've heard other women talk about this on today. She talks so much about her family. She loves her family. So even before she was married, her heartbeat was Justin. And so, we always just shared, she always just shared stories, et cetera. And then of course, when she did get married, she was just so vulnerable, especially with other couples. She was not afraid to share that she was struggling in a group of people, to talk through how the challenges were for her in blending her family. And then I was definitely around to hear about, the struggle she had with Justin. And it was so amazingly inspiring, if I could even say those two words together. I think I was a new mom, Dr. Naomi, and I don't even remember what that year was when you were going through with Justin, but I was a new mom. And I just, to this day, because I am now a parent of a 17, 18-year-old, and the things that I watched you do, the level of patience, the level of perseverance, the level of grace still impacts me today and is influencing how I am raising my daughter. And it's not easy to watch your child, as I'm going to say, develop their own testimony. Yes. And to be able, when people ask you, how's your son doing? How's your daughter doing? To be able to say, oh, they're working on their testimony, because that's basically what it is, right? And it's being able to let go and stand back. And I don't think I could have appreciated it while I was there for you. I listened to you, we encouraged you, but now it's real because I'm sitting where you were. and it's just amazing. And so I just remember watching you go through that, but also I remember us talking through this book and being at the forefront of that. And it's so exciting to see that you did it. I mean, we talked about this book, you came to my conference, you sat on my panel, you inspired and influenced so many women that day. So many women, to have a woman who was as successful as you with all of these level of degrees, and to show people that you sit at times and struggle the way the rest of us do. When I tell you it was powerful, women left there, encouraged. And she'll tell you there were so many women who stood in line wanting to get her autograph. She hadn't even wrote a book yet. So it was awesome.
So that lady that we had on the panel, she has a book, and you can pick it up at DrNaomiLHillHugh.
And she will actually be speaking at my conference in another month or so, talking about this as well. So I'm just excited. And I remember when Naomi wasn't a speaker and wasn't a talker. And now look at the platform that God is building in her. It's powerful.
So Reverend Niki, when you think about this, I know it's gonna be a good one. So I was listening to everybody else, but okay. Well, first about the book, I want to say that in preparation for today's interview, so I would have context, I read the book, and I had set aside 3 different times on my calendar to like break up reading, but I don't know if you heard me say this earlier. I ended up reading the book in one sitting, a 254-page book in one sitting, only taking breaks to go to the bathroom and eat. That was it. That's how amazing this book is. And also that it's not just a book for you know, parents in a blended family. This is a book that speaks to mothers, you know, in a traditional, as they say, family, or single mothers, aspiring mothers, for husbands, for fathers. This book just speaks to so many different people. And I'm about to cry again, so let me just stop. But when you think about Dr. Naomi, and we know that today has a tea theme,
Yes.
what's either a tea leaf or a herb that'll go in a tea, or some type of accent that will go with a tea? What comes to your mind?
So I have two things. One is probably not necessarily a herb, but it is a tea. But I'll go with the herb first. It's chamomile. And when you first drink chamomile, I was given chamomile when I had an upset stomach, didn't feel well. It's a soothing tea. But when you really understand chamomile is an antioxidant. And so whatever invades the system that doesn't belong there, chamomile is going to fight back. And when I tell you, this woman who is sitting right there, she looks all cute in her white, but don't get it twisted. She is a fighter. She is a warrior. There has never, in all the months and years that I have seen her go through and struggle, there was never a sense of defeat on her. And it's so powerful to know that about her, because another type of woman would have fallen apart. I have counseled women. Candy, I know you're a therapist. You have counseled women who have fallen apart at the stuff that she has faced, that she has had to go through. But chamomile has that camouflage, that sense that everything is calm, but underneath she's been fighting this entire time. So I just salute you, my sister. I am so amazingly proud of you and who you are and what you have accomplished. And this is just the beginning. This is literally just the beginning for you.
But you said you had two.
Oh yes, the second one, y'all know I'm down south now, is called a sweet tea. Now listen, these southern women down here, they call them, they like sweet tea, but don't get it twisted. They will cut you in a minute. And so Dr. Naomi, she is as sweet as apple pie, but if you come for her and her children, you gonna know. You gonna know. I know she's shaking her head, yes. And that's how these southern women are. If you come for me, and especially if you come for my children, you know, you're gonna raise up the warrior. So those are my two.
Thank you. So Dr. Naomi, you thought that you needed to have Reverend Niki on today. So what would you like to say to Reverend Niki?
So what I have to say is for Reverend Niki, Minister Cheryl to come, and Pastor Joy to end, the tea blend that I thought about when I thought about you three ladies was chamomile. And so when you said chamomile, it just made me chuckle. So that's that. But Reverend Niki, let me tell you about her. I was talking to her on the phone, and she told me that she wanted me to be a panelist at her Ignite conference. And I was like, what? And she said, yes. And I was like, are you sure? And she said, yes. And so.
Wait, she walkerized you.
Yes. She walkerized.
I've been walkerized before.
And so when I tell you the first chapter of the book that I wrote was smack dab in the middle, Stop Running Through the Woods. That's the first chapter that I wrote. I was talking to Reverend Niki about Justin and about this chapter, this particular chapter. And that's when she told me, you need to write a book. And so when I went to her conference and I sat on a panel, this chapter is the chapter that I shared. So it was the very first time at her Ignite conference that I sat and publicly shared about my son and an occurrence that happened because of the blending. And so that right there was the very first chapter, and that's why, because I was walkerized to be a panelist at her Ignite conference.
So what she likes to say is she sees it in you, and it's her job to just push it and help you. She's the midwife. That's what she always says. She's like the midwife.
Yeah, she saw the more. She saw the more, and that, you know, kind of put me on Front Street. So I was there and I talked, and she's right, the comments and the love and the support that I got from the women who allowed me to be vulnerable before them and to treasure my heart before them is where it started. And I'm absolutely humbled to be able to speak at her Ignite conference.
Now, when is
in
that
November.
happening? In November. Would you like to give the information about your conference?
Yeah, well, this year it's going to be virtual, and it's going to be November the 6th and the 7th. And prayerfully, Naomi will be back next year as well. But Naomi will be virtual this year, and she's going to be sharing more aspects of her book. And she's going to be talking about the power of broken pieces.
So they're requesting that you put the information about the virtual conference this year. If you could put that information in the chat.
Sure.
Thank you, and thank you, Reverend.
Thank you.
Today. All right, thank you. And next we have Reverend Cheryl. Reverend Cheryl Marion. Hello, how are you? Look at with her tea up there. Hello.
I have a virtual tea.
There you go. So welcome. This
Thank you.
Cry Fest. I was gonna call you Reverend Naomi. I was just about to say it. Okay.
Hey.
Speak those things. Okay. Dr. Naomi said it was very, very important for you to be a part of today. She when I asked her to describe the relationship, she put you and Reverend Niki and Pastor Joy as her encouragers and her cheerleaders.
Wow.
And so what comes to mind for you, Reverend Cheryl, when you hear that, when you think about Dr. Naomi's journey?
Yeah, it's humbling to think someone so strong would think that of me. I've been privileged to know part, and today learning more. So hearing where she has humbly placed me in her life is very touching and meaningful. It's an encouragement to me, actually.
So you have been there and helped and help her pray through and encourage in the valley times, but there's also been mountaintop experiences for her as well, all coming to the writing of this book, Blended but Beyond Expectations.
Yeah.
What did you know that this had to happen?
Oh, absolutely. Naomi and I, we became even more familiar during a class time, and to see her transform in just a matter of days, I just knew that something great was already happening in her and happened to her. But to see it come to pass today, remembering when we sat in class and she spoke it into existence, it's amazing to see it happen today. Naomi, you look so beautiful.
Thank you.
So beautiful.
So when you think about Dr. Naomi and you think about today's theme is tea, what either tea leaf or herb or something that you would add to tea for flavor or aroma, what comes to mind?
I had Dr. Naomi as a peppermint. So now the herb peppermint. Now, peppermint has many benefits, but two jumped out at me to immediately think of Dr. Naomi. And one of them is that it calms the stomach muscles, okay? And then another one is it improves the flow of bile, the fluids that aid in digestion. And the reason why I thought of that is because the calming aspect of peppermint, I think of Luke 8:24, when Jesus was in the midst of the storm, the disciples are going crazy, and he spoke to the wind and he told it to calm, and it did. He rebuked the wind and it calmed. Then the other aspect of it was the flow. It helps with the flow of bile in the body. And I thought of John 7:38, where Jesus said that if we believe in him, out of us shall flow rivers of living water. And when I think of Naomi, I think of all of the storms that she has been through, and her peppermint spice just came alive and brought such a calm to help her get through those storms. And also, when I think about out of her belly shall flow rivers of living water. I mean, she just continues to just flow with life. She's just always flowing with life, with love, with joy. I don't think I've ever seen her sad or frowning. She just always seems as though she is in such a lively and calming state all the time. So I said, you were a peppermint.
Thank you.
So when we were talking with Reverend Niki, she mentioned chamomile. Was there a blend that you had for the ladies?
No, just
okay.
chamomile.
Yeah.
Chamomile. And I must say, Minister Cheryl, she was talking about her class. I took a class at Abundant Harvest Bible Institute at our church, Bethany Baptist, and we had to do something. We had to write a letter to the little girl, or there was one guy in our class, God bless Wilson, the little boy within. So I had to write this letter to the little girl within. And it was an assignment, I think it was a midterm assignment. And when I tell you, I wrote a letter to the younger Naomi, and there were things that came out in this letter that I didn't remember were so far deeply buried down that when I wrote it, it was extremely emotional for me, extremely emotional. And we had to get in front of the class and read. And once again, it was an opportunity for me to be completely vulnerable and completely transparent. And because of that assignment, there was something that was released from me. I released the little girl from within that had been, I think I was either 50 or 51 years old. I can't remember which year it was. But for all of those years, not realizing that that little girl needed to be free. And so Minister Cheryl, part of the women's ministry at Bethany Baptist Church, the Diamonds Ministry, I love the ministry. I love to worship with the women. But in her spirit, there's just something about her and our connection that is in the spirit. And you just have to honor God when he puts people in your life. And you have to know who's there for what reason and for how long. So on.
What does Bishop always say? Reasons. See, there are people in your life for reasons, and some people in your life for seasons, and some people in your life for a lifetime, and they all serve a purpose. And Reverend Cheryl, your part of your purpose has been realized in the publishing of this book, Blended Beyond Expectation.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much today for joining us. Is there anything else that you would like to say to Dr. Naomi before you go today?
Naomi, all the best. New York Times bestseller. Just don't forget about our time during class. Don't forget about me.
I won't. The information up about, I will be speaking at a roundtable with
right.
Cheryl on the 19th, this Saturday. So make sure you get the information for your event in the chat.
Yes, ma'am. I sure will. Sure will.
You have all these speaking engagements. All right.
Yeah, it's a popular lady.
So thank you. And don't forget, as Dr. Naomi asked, if you go ahead and put your information about your conference, your event in the chat, and so that others can join along. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So, and finally, we have Pastor Joy. Now, from what I hear, Pastor Joy, it was Pastor Joy's involvement that actually brought us to this book by an event called Write That Book. And she listened and she did it. Welcome, Pastor Joy.
Wow, what an honor. What an honor to be here. I am just amazed at God. I am so amazed at God. Can we all give it up for Dr. Naomi? You did it, sister. You did it. And we celebrate you today. She took a class that I hosted called Write That Book, and she did just that. So praise God.
So when you think, have you read the book?
I have not read the book, but I had the opportunity to read an excerpt. And just like you, Candy, I have to tell you, she gave me an excerpt because she wanted some feedback. And by the time I got to the end of the excerpt, I'm like, I need the rest of this book. I need the rest of this book right now. I mean, I feel like I've been on a cliffhanger for a year now. I need the rest of that book. It is a page turner for real. It's excellent. I can't wait to read the rest of the book.
I was telling Dr. Naomi, I don't think I ever binge read anything like that since grad school.
So amazing. So awesome.
It cost me a grade.
Yeah.
But
so awesome.
So to know that you are one of the women, you know, every time she said, Pastor Joy, we have to figure this out for Pastor Joy because it was her class, it was her class, it was her class. Are you feeling like a proud mother?
I am. I like, yes. I can't even tell you. That
now,
exactly.
She took your class. How was she apprehensive in the beginning when she first took that? When she first entered your class?
I think when she first took the class, she was focused, she was committed, she was there for the right reason. I think though along the journey, life happened. And I wonder if anybody can relate to life happening. When you set your eyes on a goal, on a prize, on a destination, life happens. And we know that from the testimonies that we're hearing from her family and even from yourself who's saying, listen, you know, when you read this book, it's a page turn. The devil wasn't happy about her getting this book out. So he was going to try to throw everything he could at her to get her to stop. But we're making the devil out of a liar today. And he tried it. The weapon was formed. Oh, come on, somebody. But it did not prosper. This book is out and it's going to bless the masses. And I told her, you just have to keep pushing and pressing. And it's interesting. She took, I have two parts to the class. So the first part of the class is just the basics of writing. We talk about everything from how to write a compelling book, which she very much did, to how to self-publish, which she has done. And so that was the first part. But then there's an intensive course. And in the intensive course, I take a small group of people and I walk them through the journey. And so the intensive was only 3 months, right? But after the 3 months, we had a private Facebook group page. It was over. The class was over for everybody else. Not Dr. Naomi. She was like, y'all might have left, but I'm still working this and I'm going to see this through to the end. So class was over for months. Dr. Naomi still be in the group talking about, I just want to let y'all know I finished chapter 5. I don't know what y'all doing, but I'm over here writing a book. Okay.
So I don't know about anybody else watching, but I'm like, are you still doing these classes?
Yes, I am. Matter of fact, we just finished one. Dr. Naomi, I just love her. She took it again. See, that's the kind of people I want to coach. They hungry. You know, Dr. Naomi was like, if I got to take this again, I need a refresher course. And so, yes, I offer the course every couple months. So if you're interested, you can reach out to me. I'll put my email address. So you all can get
I'm going to ask you, please put your contact information in the chat.
I sure will.
About this class and everything. I don't know. I just feel like I need to be writing some kind of book. You just have that energy.
Listen, everybody on here today can write that book. You have a story and your story needs to get out to the world. You didn't go through all that you went through to sit on your story. Your pain has a purpose. And that's what the word of the Lord over Dr. Naomi is today, that your pain has a purpose and that pain has now become your platform. And the devil is going to be sorry he ever or mess with you. He's gonna be sorry he ever tried to come against your children. Listen, we're giving the devil a black eye today. All right, I'm trying to calm down here, but
wait, I don't listen. Give somebody the devil a black eye. First chapter or the fourth chapter. I don't know. I'm sold. I'm sold. I don't care if I might be
write that book, Candy. Let's go.
But thank you so much. Now listen. Now I can see why you wrote. I mean, she's a beast.
Yeah, I was accountable. I was like, this intensive 3. I was like, okay.
I love how she said it's only 3 months.
I know, right? Listen, only 3 months.
But I was accountable. I'm a good student, and I was like, I wanted to have my book done by the end of 2018, and life happened. And it wasn't done until 2019. I still let those people in that Facebook group, I was like, okay, this is where I am. This is where I am. I was in a library and I typed the last word. I put it in that group because I wanted to be accountable to whoever was still in there.
That's right.
Just checking you right at that point, right?
No, Pastor Joy was in there,
Okay.
and then Teresa was in there too. So there was another student who was still following along.
So Pastor Joy, when you think about Naomi, so you know that the theme for today is tea, talking tea. So when you think about Dr. Naomi, what tea, leaf or herb or something that you would put in a tea for aroma or taste, what comes to mind?
I'm drinking it right now. And I was just introduced to this past summer from a friend from London. I had never drank turmeric tea before. The combination, it was strange to me. She said, I'm telling you, I just need you to try this tea. And I tried it and I've been hooked ever since. So turmeric, as you may know, is a brilliant yellow spice. I just want to stop there for a second. What you know about turmeric is if it gets on anything, it leaves a mark. You're going to know that turmeric was there. Oh, come on here, somebody. And so it's brilliant. Dr. NaomiLHugh is brilliant. And so when I think about her, I think about turmeric, I think about her brilliance. But then it goes on to say, as I looked it up, that it's a medicine, it's used as a medicine, has been used as a medicine for centuries to treat wounds, infections, of to what God is saying through this tea leaf, that really she has shown herself to be an instrument of healing in her family. That when there was inflammation, God used the mother and the wife of that family to calm down all inflammation. So listen, this is what she's been in her family, but as a medical doctor, isn't that what she has done for children? So when I thought about that, I know that was nothing but the Holy Spirit to combine the brilliance, but then also to think about how she's used as an instrument of healing and to reduce swelling and inflammation. So that's what I think about when I think about Dr. NaomiLHugh.
Where do I sign up? You got me thinking I can leap over walls and run.
You can do it. Yeah. Listen, you can do it.
And I have to say, turmeric is one of my favorite, and I make it from the powder and my own, like not even in the bag. You can make it from your own. And so when you said turmeric, that lit up for her. Now, why did that resonate with you?
I like it. I like it as a season. I like Indian food, and that's a very popular and common spice in Indian food. And it's very, very rich, very spicy, and it does stain, kind of like curry.
Yes, very similar.
So what would you like to say to Dr. Joy? I'm sorry. I'm giving everybody titles.
Give me another year. I'm working on it. I got one more year of school. Give me another year.
You get a title. You get a title. You get a title. Everybody gets a title.
I'm working on it.
What would you like to say to Pastor Joy?
Pastor Joy, I just, I thank you for your enthusiasm. You are such an incredible encourager, a pusher, a guider, and I just thank you for having the platform for Write That Book, because though Reverend Niki got me to write that book, I still needed a lot of direction. And when I met you I was on vacation. I was on vacation in Massanutten, Virginia at the time. And it was a Saturday, and I took it was a webinar from 9 to 4 or something like that?
Yes.
I sat there and I did that, and then I immediately signed up for the intensive. And look at her, she's contagious.
She is.
And listen, on that first day of the intensive, she says, I want your goals for the next 12 weeks. What are your goals? How much of your book do you want to have accomplished? And I will be checking in on you guys weekly. And you need somebody, like I said, I've been in school for a long time, but you really need somebody to kind of give you a syllabus, give you an outline, and then for you to stick to it. What is it going to take? I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to help you where you falling short. And then when you meet your goal and you're done a chapter, I want to read it. What? Huh? So then, to send as you're writing, and to send something, so personal when you're writing, something that's nonfiction. And that's a memoir. It's difficult to give it to somebody and ask them to give you feedback, because you want it, but then you don't want it. So, but she was good, and I was happy to share it with her.
I tell you one thing, I can see how you wrote that book if this woman was behind it. It's my first time meeting you, but I just felt like, whoo!
God bless you.
After this one, you have good energy. And listen, make sure you put the information, please, Pastor Joy.
I sure will. And I just want to
next cycle of seminar for
write that book.
Your intensive and all those things, if that's okay.
Yes, that's absolutely. You can fill out the contact form. I'm going to send you to my website, and I'll also give you my email address in the chat, and then you all can reach out to me either way. And Dr. Naomi Hugh, I just want to say I have been extremely honored that you entrusted me with you. I call it, I always say, your book baby. I just really am grateful that you entrusted me with this project, and I declare blessings over you. And as it's already been said, you ain't seen nothing yet. God bless you, and thank you for letting me be a part of this.
One other thing, I did a consultation with her about this virtual book release. So this right here, we talked, and so this whole, how we gonna do this during COVID, this virtual book release, that's Pastor Joy's input too.
Love you.
Joy Morgan motivates. That's her.
Yes. Yeah.
Joy
I mean,
Morgan
and that's
motivates.
right. It motivates. She motivates.
Amen.
Do something. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna just do something.
You're gonna do something.
But thank you so much, Pastor Joy, for joining.
Thank you.
I've learned so much about you through Naomi. This is my first time meeting you, but I've learned so much about you. Clearly, you are a very necessary and crucial part of Dr. Naomi's journey, specifically with writing this book, but I believe that it goes beyond that as well. And thank you for not counting it as robbery to sow into her and to help bring all this to fruition.
Praise God. What an honor.
Thank you. So to our at-home viewing audience, I know that we told everyone that there was going to be a Q&A. Clearly, with all of this good conversation that we've had today, we are well over time. But I will say this, that Dr. Naomi is very committed to interacting with each and every one of you that chooses to interact with her. If you had questions, she will be addressing them
I'm gonna go back
at a later, after we go off of the live presentation. So she will be responding to every question that was put either on Facebook chat or through the Facebook social media platform or through Zoom. She's going to connect with you. And you can also connect with Dr. Naomi at drnaomi.org. Don't forget, Blended Beyond Expectation. You can pre-order it today. And I said today, I know it's today, but it's today. And you can do that at drnaomi.org. Dr. Naomi.
Yes, and also the actual release of the book will be next Tuesday on September 22nd, because books are released on Tuesdays. And it can actually be ordered print on demand through ingramspark.com and through Barnes and Nobles and Amazon, all of those sites where you can get your books on. It'll be available on September 22nd.
Dr. Naomi, how has today been for you?
It has been overwhelming in a good way. I had no idea that this book release was going to look like this. Thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic, this is how it looks. I thought I was going to, wait until the book was in my hand. I'm going to have a book signing. We'll sit down, we'll sign, we'll talk and all of that. But this has forced me to be, to think outside of the box, to be more creative, and to actually engage the ones that I love, the women that I call my leading ladies, and the men who are so strong and supportive. It actually allowed for a much more intimate setting. And so I thank COVID for that.
And I know that sometimes it's hard to, as a person, to sit and hear people give you your verbal roses, while you can hear them. But how was it to hear how you've impacted so many people's lives?
It was very humbling to know that I was as encouraging and inspiring as as I have been. So that was very, very humbling to know. You know, you have your friends, you have relationships with people, and you never know when you know, iron sharpens iron. And so I see how these ladies have influenced me and sown into my life, and to realize that they've taken something away, you know, as well from me. So that's good. That was humbling to know.
So blended beyond expectation. What is your final word about the book? And yeah, your final word about your book, baby.
Okay, so the final word about my book, baby, Blended Beyond Expectation, is a journey through my heart. A journey through my heart as a woman, and a journey through my heart as a wife. And as I have taken the journey in print, I ask you to come along and take a journey through your heart through my testimony.
And again, the book, Blended Beyond Expectation, is available on pre-order by visiting DrNaomi.org. And before we go, if you could just give us just a couple of more minutes, because I keep pointing you to this website, DrNaomi.org. And so can you tell people because DrNaomi.org, that website is an experience as well. It's not just about the book, but there are other things that you can find on that website. Can you just talk about that just for a couple minutes?
Yes, so I get to thank Jai Green for that, and a friend from way back when. And the website is a place where you can go to connect with me. Order the book. You can see where my upcoming speaking engagements are. If you want to have me come in and speak virtually or in person, I know right now we can't do those kinds of things, but that opportunity is there. In the future, I'm going to be doing some blogging. Who knew? But apparently, I'm going to be doing some blogging, and there's space on there for that. I'm going to be doing some posts, and there's another thing that I would like to begin. And I'm just thinking about this out loud right now. I don't know if it's going to be on the website, but I also have a Facebook page that's Naomi L. Hill Hugh MD. So it's my author name, Naomi L. Hill Hugh MD, on Facebook. Go on Facebook, like that page, follow that page. But what I want to do is start something where you would be able to interact. And you would be able to interact if you're in the Blended family with the hashtag Team Blended. And if you're not in a Blended family and you're reading the book, there's going to be a hashtag that says hashtag Heart Journey. So if you're going through a journey through your heart, or if you're in a Blended family, there's going to be space for you to be able to share once you receive the book, and just to give me feedback and to share with other people who might be experiencing the same thing. So hashtag Team Blended, hashtag Heart Journey. So look out for that.
So once again, we thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Dr. Naomi Hill, for your Dr. Naomi HillHugh, for sharing and being so open and transparent in your book. I do believe that it's going to bless it's going to be an unexpected blessing to so many, because again, I just thought I was reading your story from a blended perspective of, you know, I'm not in a blended situation, not expecting to be blessed the way that I was. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of your day. Out of all the amazing, amazing, amazing women in your life, I was very humbled by the invitation to do this. And thank you out there for joining us today. Don't forget to check out Dr. Naomi at DrNaomi.org. Don't forget to go on and pre-order your book today. Pre-order that book. And how much is the book?
$20 plus shipping and handling.
There you go. And y'all know we done spent $20 on eyebrows. Okay, maybe not eyebrows, but lashes possibly. So go out and buy yourself a book. And if it hits your heart to do this, maybe you want to gift the book to someone who you know of that may be having a similar journey. Until next time, until that next book, because you're going to write that next book, it's going to be write that next book. Until the next time, thank you. And don't forget, Dr. Naomi will be answering and responding to all the questions submitted via Zoom and via Facebook. So look out for her response to you. Thank you for joining us today.